Oh, good day, family. I'm getting together. I wasn't gonna come, but I got to. Oh, good day, family. I debated if I was going to come on tonight, but I know I need to do this reading and finish this book. And I also wanted to come on and confirmation and let us know that it is something happening out here. Uh, I was listening to one of our sisters. She's a reader, and she real good, y'all. And it's a connection between the twins, the Lewis twins, and our other brother, Travante, what was his name? Helton, out there in Georgia, and there's some mountains and stuff. It really is something. You better tell your sons and your daughters that's in these interracial relationships. It ain't all that it's cracked up to be. Let them know. They better follow that intuition that's letting them know. Sabrina might be all right, but her uncle and her granddaddy and her great uncle, she don't know them people like that. They do not like their sons and daughters being with our sons and daughters. You better let your children know. We all better. They're going to do what they want to do anyway, but at least they know, ooh, I better get up out of here before it's too late. Before it's too late. It's unfortunate. I know we done put our whole, we done been so sincere with this. But white folks, they ain't been sincere with us. They have, and it's too much happening to black men out here, coming up missing. Lynched, hanging in trees, y'all. Hanging off one brother, I forgot his name, hanging off the second floor. The rope was up there. He was on the first floor, like he was just standing up. It's revealing itself. We can't just keep denying what's happening between us and between white America. We cannot. We're going to have to wake up and just call this what it is and let our babies know, if they're in them relationships and stuff, they better keep their eyes open and their ears. Up out of Georgia mountains. And both of them were dating white. They was in interracial relationships. One of the twins was in an interracial relationship, and Travante was too. Yeah, it's so much happening within our culture as well as in the world. And poor black people, we trying. We got to do more. First of all, we got to see that we're gonna be okay. Now we got to make sure we are safe and okay. Our babies make it home at night. Now they very trusting. They'll sit there and be around Sabrina uncle and auntie and stuff, and they asses being sly, cracking jokes and shit like that, making looks on their faces and stuff. You better tell your children and stuff if they in the interracial relationship, especially down south and shit. It really don't matter where they at. Just let them know. Because, honey, I don't know all of the states that these people is rousing up in. But they rousing up. And they got this protest coming on April the 5th. And they want y'all to be out there. I say you better not take your ass out there. Let them get out there and fight for their right and stuff. What's been taken away. And what's been all these fines and jobs losses and medical losses and stuff like that. You let them go take care of that and stuff, because we can't do nothing. We cannot do a thing, honey. Anything you get your ass out there, they're going to change and flip on black people. And everybody going to start just attacking black people and stuff. What took you so fucking long? Oh, yeah, then you going to see the real white people. There ain't finna be no more gentleness. Oh, yeah, what took you so long? We've been out here waiting. Nope. It's going to be totally different. So, no, we can't go back. We cannot go back. You, Black America, cannot go back. We're going to have to keep going forward. for us. No matter what happened, we can't fold on us. We can't sacrifice us. I don't give a damn how many protests they have and stuff. They missed the one that was mainly the main ones. They missed it. So yeah, we ain't got time for it no more and stuff. We ain't got time for it no more. Everybody out there should have been stood up for black people. Now everybody want to come together because everybody is fucked up and feeling it. Everybody claim they feeling the oppression. Now everybody want to, get together and stuff. It's too late for that. It's too late for that. They should have been doing that right there for us. Showing us that, yeah, we really want y'all to get up. We know y'all been done wrong. And we want y'all, Black America, to get what you deserve. So we going to go out here and tell our white men, our white brothers, our white uncles and granddaddies and aunties and grandmamas, we going to go out here and we're going to protest. 1 million of us, all of us, 50,000 of us, white folks should have been done that. But no, they haven't, because white folks got an ulterior motive. I'm telling you. Yes, they do, honey. History setting itself up. I didn't know history can repeat itself, especially if you don't know your history. So see, me and my people, we got to wake up. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be freely saying share this. I don't know. I'm just sitting here. I'm trying to wrap my mind around all of this and stuff because the ancestors want to be remembered. They must be remembered. That's the only way they're going to show up so they can show out. We got to remember them. And that's why I'm reading. There's our book right there. Let me go on and get it. They were her property because we need to know them. We need to remember them. We need to call on them. They have dealt with this clanimal. We haven't. We ain't dealt with these people. Not like our ancestors have. So, yeah, we got to do what we got to do and stuff. I need us to know. You need to know. Your family member is in danger if they in an interracial relationship now. Especially if they just getting in one. Especially if they're young. Especially if they're not, I don't know. I really can't even say focused. Because the hatred for him, it's unmeasurable. It's unmeasurable. So, yeah, you got to look at this like it really is with a historical lens. See, we don't forgot all about the history. That's why Dr. Ray Hagan said we lost, contact with what's real, factual, historical. Yeah, we done lost contact with it because we don't know the knowledge. We forgot everything. We done forgot everything. These people, they turning right back around finna do the same shit on us again. This time with robots. This time with robots, y'all. I can't even imagine. We ain't never thought like them. This is some diabolical shit. For real, it is. I can't believe we in this. Is this like literally hell? And then it's heaven? I mean, because, this planet got 9 realms now. REALMS. Hell, is we at the very smack bottom in motherfucking hell. Ooh, all I know is we better make some decisions right here, right now, after this. Where we going? Because you don't want to spend your eternity with Satan no more. If this is hell, I'm just saying. All that I've been seeing and learning this, I don't want to sugarcoat this for you, what these books mean to me and what they showing me. That my people, our people have literally endured. I can't imagine. I don't know how to sugarcoat it for you and act like, oh, it really wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that inhumane, because it was all of that. It ain't even no words in the English language, and I'm learning words. The more I read, the more I learn. That's what we're supposed to do. Let's just read, y'all. Turn every motherfucking thing off and get some books and let's read. But it ain't even a word in the English language. I don't know about other languages and stuff, but it ain't even a word in the English language to describe this. It ain't. And I'm being sincere about it. All the shit we done been through, I ain't supposed to say what it really is and what it means to me, in my opinion. Why? I'm not going to be like everybody else and just think it and keep it to myself, because whether everybody know it or not, whether we know it or not, this is the end. This is the end right here, y'all. Yep, it sure is, honey. Life as we know it is over. Don't nobody, can't nobody even comprehend what this futuristic world is going to be like. I can't. And I've been thinking about it a whole lot, but I can't even comprehend what it's going to be like. I never did look at the Jetsons, but did they ever show the ground? We know what the earth looked like in the Terminator. What part was that? Part 2? No, that was part 1, because he was having flashbacks where they were living underground and stuff, and the Terminators came in there, and the dogs and stuff, or something of it. But Fifth Element, I mean, well, that really didn't. I don't know what is the future supposed to look like, but this ain't it. I will tell you one thing though: when we get it together, Black people, being that we are from the cosmos, and the cosmos manifested us because the ethers wanted to experience life, wanted to experience, human form, wanted to come here and heal hell. However you want to put it, it was us. And if we come together and we, get our minds right, get rid of all this fear, and get out from under white America stuff, if we can break this curse on us, that's the curse, white America. White America is the only curse we are under. I'm telling you. But if we come together, if we can break that curse, y'all, we'll be able to survive this new world. We'll be able to save the whole planet. We will. Because everybody come from us. The cosmos is very powerful. We better not doubt that. The cosmos is very powerful. We got to put the faith in us now. I didn't know it was going to lead to this. I guess none of us did, hell. We didn't know these people was actually setting up all of these sabotages to reel in everything that's in the movies. So that means to me, it ain't just 1 or 2 movies. I remember, I seen the movies, They Live. I loved it, the movie, The V. I'm just saying, then I done learned that we ain't even got the same DNA. White folks got animal DNA in them. They do. I didn't know. But now that I done found out about it and stuff, I'm not going to sugarcoat the shit for us, Black America. I'm just going to let you know how it is. And if you go research and come back and say, nah, face, that was a lie. You telling people lies and stuff, then I tell people, hell, I was wrong. But it ain't far from the truth. Because even they, the animals of this planet, that you, Black man and Black woman, was supposed to protect. That's what the Bible said. It gave you dominion over the animals. And then you sit here and let the clanimals come in and just wipe them all away. Extinct so many of them. I don't even know how many are extincted. Y'all, this is bigger than we ever could even imagine. Yeah, we better turn our big brains on. We better, because we in real dire straits. I don't know. I ain't trying to fearmonger you or nothing like that, but honey, if you ain't seeing what I'm seeing, I'm just saying, open your eyes then. Because something ain't right. Something is not right. And we are the main ones that's being preyed upon. We the main ones that's vulnerable. Damn it, we like the only ones. Oh, my ancestors. We the only ones that's vulnerable. Out of every group of people. We the only ones that's vulnerable, so vulnerable to everybody, everything. Sometimes it just be too much. We got to wake up and remember our ancestors. We got to catch up like yesterday. Like I'm sitting here catching up with everything because I was asleep for 43 years. That's what we got to do. We got to be in overdrive. We got to listen and look at everything, everybody, because I'm looking at everybody. Yep, I hardly even get time to go listen to a reader. But if I do, that right there is my downtime, you know. But we got to do these things and stuff because we ain't know nothing. Let me get this out the way and stuff. You know, I am Face the Nation. We on Bolden Unchained. I don't know if I'm even going to read tonight. I probably will. Wet nurse for sale or hire. Yeah, I probably will. I did want us to watch that video again where brother went to sleep. He woke up and the white man was sitting in the kitchen. You know, I am here, y'all, to assist Black America and Black media with the uncovering and the condemning the many agendas, events, projects, operations, laws, codes, acts, bills, compromises, memorandums, studies, courses, plans against Black America. That's why I'm here. And I hope that's why you're here. If you ever hear that, if you at that point right there, no, this ain't for me, then go ahead and it's okay with me. Because ain't many people. Ain't many of us. And that's all right, because it ain't even going to take that many. And we looking through a spiritual lens, because I'm looking through a spiritual lens. If you religious, then you probably want to go over there with sister. Because sister forgive everything, everybody. Sister forgive it now. What's finna happen? Oh, yeah. I already done told sister what's finna happen. More than I tell you. Sister, no. I be telling her. She already forgive it. Well, they don't know what they doing, Faith. They don't know, Faith. So, yeah, if you're religious, then you belong over there, not over here. We looking through a spiritual lens, because I am. You ain't finna come up in here looking through no forgiving lens. No religious lens. Everybody forgiving now. No, not over here. We looking through a spiritual lens of loyalty, because I need you to know and question, who are you loyal to? It ain't that hard to decide. Black people, from a Black point of view. Maybe that'll make it easier for us. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how to talk to us and convey these things. Let me maximize this. Because I don't even want to be, you know, stressing out and stuff. Because don't nobody want to hear about the ancestors. I sure don't. I get so sick of that. It don't even matter now. They told me just do it. Just read. Yeah, just read. Yeah, we gonna know all of their names, so I'm done. Sure will. I hope we don't see your surname nowhere. I hope so. I hope we don't. You know, but we hope we don't see my surname, my daddy name, my mama name. We've been, it's just too much for me. It is. I'm trying my best to be fair and just, you know, let's just get away. Let's just go, get away, get by ourselves, take care of ourselves. And that's enough for me. Long as we get us safe and away from white folks. That's all I'm saying to my people. Watch our back with y'all, because I don't know if it's a telepathy thing. I know it's a cultural thing. You know, it's too much to ignore and to stay silent on. For my ancestors, it is. You know, so yeah, we looking through a spiritual lens of resilience, y'all. We need to know we can survive this. The New World Order and stuff, we can. But we can't be vulnerable. We cannot be vulnerable. As you see right now, we ain't got nothing. Sure ain't nobody even slipped to the side and say, hey, Black America, you know, hey, man, do what we doing. We doing this, we doing that. You know, came on and said, well, damn, man, you know, white people done helped us get up like this right here. Ain't nobody came and said nothing, a word or a whisper. Just been getting for theyself. Yep, ain't no friends. We ain't got no friends. Sure don't. I don't know what's finna happen other than the robots. I have no idea. If you do see some aliens, you better start asking them some questions. I don't give a damn. You better ask them something. When is Malcolm coming? Where's Malcolm at? You sure better. You better ask them something. You better not run. You better not faint. Oh, my ancestors, don't let Black people faint. We're in the apocalypse right now. Yep, we're in a new awakening. I didn't know. Hell, I just woke up. I'm so thankful I woke up. I can't imagine still being asleep at a time like this. No, honey. And we looking through a spiritual lens of education. Because, honey, they wiping everything away so quick. We better start reading, singing, talking. Everything we doing and stuff, we better focus it on our ancestors. The good, the bad, the ugly, the savage, and the ravageness. We better get on it. We better get on it because, honey, they wiping away everything. You ain't going to be able to find nobody, not even Jackie Robinson. I think they took him out the national database or something. I don't know how they wiping it away. But, honey, I know you better start telling your own stories and making sure that our kids know who we are. Before hell, in 50 years, 70 years, they're going to be like, damn, it really was black people for real? Because we done let them folk just, just piddle how they do us and stuff. And like, we ain't never supposed to wake up. We ain't never supposed to realize these things. Yeah, if it weren't for our ancestors, y'all, we got our sanity because of our ancestors. But y'all, we on the brink, of our mind just being totally collapsed, dealing with white America. I think if it wasn't for our critical thinkers, if it wasn't for our elders, our saviors, that's what I call our heroes. Yeah, our saviors. I call them our saviors and stuff because they didn't want us to go through none of this. And they risked their lives, they suffered, they sacrificed everything. So to me, yeah, they my saviors. Where's read something? Because I pull the Bible out. I will pull the Bible out. This is our Bible right here. I'm just saying, Black America, don't sleep through the damn apocalypse. Wake your ass up because, honey, the whole world is on fire. Everybody. Yep, the whole world is on fire. Everybody's ass is in danger. But the key is you got to save yourself, Black America, because you the one got to live on. Black America and Black Africa is the one that's got to live on after all of this, because it's finna motherfucking go down. I don't know. I don't even remember my dreams, to tell you the truth. But I know I be getting, some downloads. I know you do too. You're going to have to just start letting your family know. Start letting your family know and stuff. If you got your your throat chakra, your personal freedom or whatever, you're supposed to be telling our people what the fuck is going on out here. Because obviously we still don't know. We don't know. No, everybody done told us in songs. White folks done told us in movies. I'm to the point where is the animals gonna have to literally stand up and tell us, Black America, why y'all ain't got the hell away from white America and took us with you? Because I can just imagine what them poor dogs and cats is going through. I'm just saying, for us, we need to get out. We need to get out, y'all. The copyright disclaimer under 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair uses of use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. I'm still wondering, what is this fair use? All of this stuff right here, I ain't never thought like this before. I went to the 11th grade, but it ain't never taught me to critically think like this. And yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it because it's a betrayal to begin with. Wow, them, and then I had like 9 different teachers, I think, from beginning to end, from 1st grade, kindergarten to 11th grade. No, hell, that must have been like 11, probably 9 or 10. Because some grades you'll get the same teacher and shit like that. Some of y'all probably had the teacher for like 2 or 3, 4 grades. Went with your ass from junior high to the high school. Because you was a big brain. Got to follow that big brain. Been following you since you was in 1st grade. Yep, sure. That's how they do us. That's how they've always done us. And yep, I ain't got no proof of it, but I know it because all of these studies and stuff ain't been for nothing. Black America, you still in danger. Black man. Yeah, don't be mad at me. I'm mad at everybody for not telling us. You know, and Sabrina and Karen motherfucking ass. Sabrina, you could have told the black man that you with, even if you ain't. And your family, oh, y'all the garden snakes. Malcolm did say it's garden snakes and then it's the toxic snakes. But he said don't let none of their asses in. Or something to that effect. He said, why let 1,000 snakes in, garden snakes, and then you got a whole group of them. 10,000. So, you know, I'm just he's saying don't let none of them in. Stay in the field by yourself. We miss everything. Trying to be sincere. And then we ain't never even doubted. That's the thing about it. We ain't never even doubted if white folks was being fair with us. And we knew they wasn't. Hell, I didn't know. I thought I was just fucking up. But see, that's y'all, our intelligent ones. Not saying that I ain't intelligent because I do the knowledge too. But see, you reach that educational pinnacle I be talking about all the time. And people, you know, on my level and stuff, how we, you know, think in our day-to-day life and stuff. Nah, we don't do nothing like that and stuff. We sure don't. We got a whole day, a whole different daily routine. And it ain't setting up reading and writing and taking notes and you know, and that's who I want to reach. And I want to talk to them and let them know that, honey, it ain't all what we thought it was. It sure is not. And see, then we done, where I'm from and stuff, we done let everybody all over. We done just intermingle. We done mingled and married and got babies and grandbabies and businesses. And right here behind our back, white men is planning on attacking black men. Yep, that's what they doing. That's what they doing. They ain't our sons. They ain't our uncles and granddaddies and stuff walking around with their hoods and shit on. I seen the video. You probably seen it too in Ohio. I didn't share it or nothing or didn't watch it or nothing, but I seen the suggestion of it and stuff. Yep. And then the black people, our people came out there and they left and said that they went, the police helped their ass get away. And yeah, the shit is just rising again. And then we supposed to act like, oh, we don't see shit. We don't know shit. Some of y'all know it's in the area where y'all at. We just not telling us, but we need to tell us. We need to let us motherfucking know what could happen. Because it's already done happened once. Now, let's not sleep through the motherfucking apocalypse and then be like we surprised when they ass come out the bag on us. So don't do that to us. No, don't set us up like that. Both of you. Black folks and white folks. Don't set us up like that and knowing y'all ass finna come out the bag on us and we don't even know half of what our ancestors went through. Because we just don't. We stopped talking about it. We stopped remembering them. We stopped naming our babies after them and stuff. We stopped celebrating their birthday and the day that they was lynched and stuff like that. We just forgot. We didn't talk about it no more and stuff. And then at some point, we started bringing home Becky and Sabrina and Ken and Brad. And our elders was like, just didn't know what to do, what to say. You know, just fucked up. Wake your ass up. That's all I'm saying. Shit, hell, don't be a fool and a dummy. Just can't see your life without white America. I'm just saying for all the love. For all the love. What's this whole scheme about anyway? The ancestors is pissed. And they want vengeance. They want their justice. Sure do, honey. You better get out the way. Black people better get out the way. Ancestors is ready for their vengeance right here. It ain't mine. I know y'all say vengeance is the Lord. Vengeance belongs to the ancestors. Keep that too if you want to, but you got to admit and agree. Yeah, vengeance belongs to the ancestors too, and I'm finna show you why. Right here in our Black Bible, you better pick up the Black Bible, Black America. You can't keep staying with that same old white Bible and stuff that's keeping your mind trapped. This right here is the Black Bible. Vengeance belongs to him. Willie Brown, John Hartfield, Maurice Mays, Jim Grant, Jeff Brown, Jesse Thornton, Jesse Washington. Vengeance belongs to them. Mary Turner, her baby. Vengeance belongs to our ancestors. I can't say it enough to us. How imperative it is that we get on code, start remembering. You ain't got to remember the harshest times. That's why we be, in the daytime and stuff. I would like for us to read the goodness, the greatness of us, because this is a lot. I can just imagine how it is for some of y'all, because you really, probably not my jinkers, but some of y'all, some people that's going to come across this, it's going to really hurt them to listen to these videos and stuff if you can stomach it and get through it. Because I promise I didn't know it was going to be like no 3 hours. I was like, I don't even sit still that long. Ooh, honey, that's like smoking 10 cigarettes when you just sit down for hours at a time. For real, it is. Something like that. But I can just imagine, some people that's going to be listening to the book and listening to these stories and stuff and want to say, no, that's a lie. That's a motherfucking lie. But to read these books and stuff, I didn't write these books. Hell, how much is this book? I think it was like $18 or something like that. They get expensive. But I'm going to invest in them, and I suggest you do the same. Yep. There's a book out there, $700. Brother mentioned it on his channel the other night. Yep. I don't care if just one person get it. We're going to have to just put together some money and send it to him and let him get it for his collection. I'll take the print out. I will take the print out, honey. I'll be on air right here making a cover for that book. Y'all, what you doing over that face, honey? I got glue and wood and staplers and shit, and yes. And I'll be stapling some cloth on it or something like that, and just making a cover for it. Yeah, shit. But $700, I'm just offering a suggestion. That's what I would do. Yeah. But anyway, let's read. Wet nurse for sale or hire. Wet nurse for sale or hire. What's that to do with breastfeeding? Because, black women had to breastfeed white babies. We weren't able to breastfeed our own babies. No, by the time that white baby got done sucking all our milk, it was just a little bit for the baby. For our babies and stuff. Our babies went hungry without milk and stuff, especially when they were like drying up and stuff. They had to give them like mashed up mush and stuff like that to eat. Just pitiful. And then the damn thing about it is when we couldn't breastfeed our babies no more and we wasn't breastfeeding their babies no more, they actually broke that out of us and gave our asses animal milk, cow milk. I didn't know either. I didn't know about that shit. I really don't think I was a lover of milk like that. But I used to drink it. I used to eat it in my cereal, put it in potatoes, and make it creamy and stuff. Now, shit, honey, you better eat them potatoes like it is. Shit, you might not even get no butter. I'm just saying. But but yeah, that's what happened. And cow milk is for a 2,000-pound cow. Now, cow is an animal. A cow is an animal. Who got animal DNA? Black people or white people? Now, the only reason you got black people got animal DNA in them is if they done miscegenated with white people. White people are actually, I just was telling about this the other day. I didn't even know about it and shit. Pelagus, if that's his name, and Lupercalia, from Lupercus, honey, That man was the king of the Arcadians. The Arcadians was like the Neanderthal, the caveman. They were beastly. That right there explains the rage. I'm like, is that where the rage come from? It don't make sense to me, but I'm sure trying to connect these dots because I need my people to know here we might be in more danger than I can even tell us. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. This, probably going to be by itself, you know. But I'm just telling how I see it, what it means to me to be reading these things right here. I ain't trying to scare y'all and say this what's going to happen and this how white folks is and that stuff. Because hell, I don't know. But I know it happened. I know it happened. And I know the same people with that same mindset is still out there trying to make it happen again. Why else held their ass out there in robes? Why? What do they do to my people? See, it ain't that difficult. Now, the problem is, because I'm supposed to sit here and sugarcoat it, I'm supposed to sit here and lie to my people and make you think that, oh, it's okay, Sabrina gonna keep you safe. Sabrina ain't even told your motherfucking ass that every time y'all go over there, everybody shut up because they've been talking about you. And then our brother, I forgot his name, I'm gonna have to find the video. Our brother woke up. He done moved 3 hours away from his family to be with his white girlfriend because they got a baby together. Where her people at? He woke up in the morning time because he slept late. Woke up, walked in the kitchen. Her uncle sitting at the damn kitchen table. Told him to get his shit and get out. Yeah, we're going to need you to get your shit and get up out of here. Then the police called it. Her mama done called the police on him. And the police told him, yeah, don't nobody want you there. They don't want you in apartments. They don't want you in the city. And I'm just like, ain't no telling how long his ass had been walking over his head, looking at it. Ain't no telling. Going over there, opening up the drawers and shit. You don't know, sitting there flickering his cigarette lighter. See, we don't pay attention to shit. I always trying to be friends. Yeah, we gonna be friends yet. Yeah, Jonah's going to spend the night with Ken. Yeah, they gone swimming. Somebody said, yeah, with his little white friends again. Yeah, they gone swimming. Mm-hmm. Go every weekend. They come and pick him up every weekend. Ain't told him nothing about how's his people treating you. You ever feel funny? Do it when you get there? Is it just you? Do it be other black people? How far do y'all go? Where do you be at? We don't ask them nothing, honey. Act like they just as safe and sound with white folks. Mm-hmm. I don't know what these folks want to happen. All I can think of is King Alfred playing. Everybody and their mama gonna jump on the black man and just beat him down in the street. I'm just like, well, sister, you might well take off them wig and them earrings and shit, because somebody gonna have to go out there and help our brothers. Sure will, because hey, don't think you finna sit there and beat my brothers down in the street because they vulnerable. They on medicine. They intoxicated. Whatever. I don't know. All I know is King Alfred playing is about the provocation of the black man, black people. Maybe I'll look that up. When I seen it years ago, it was like an army document. It was, y'all. It was green. And it was in thick black writing. And it said it was a hidden document. But it was, all of a sudden, it was discovered. And they didn't know the author of it, but I think it was written during Ronald Reagan's time, presidency, by somebody in his administration or something. I don't know, honey. But I was like, whoa, what is this? Plan to what? And that's how I can, that's the only way I can express what the King Alfred plan is. It's, provoking the black man and, yeah, everybody just attacking him and stuff. So, yeah, I'm just saying to you, don't go out there to them protests and shit. Because, yeah. You're going to find yourself out there by yourself and everybody already mad and pissed off. Going to be like the draft riots. Yep, the draft riots when they had the war and stuff, and they were sending people, drafting people to go fight in the war, and the rich white men could pay their way. They didn't want to go fight, so they paid them off. But them poor white men and the Irish men too, I didn't even know it was Irish men. Hell, I'm still in a culture shock today when I see different people and stuff, and they probably been there for a long time. And everybody was targeting the draft people, the offices and stuff. Y'all, they were throwing bombs in them. They were setting the office on fire. The representatives and stuff of the riots, they were going out doing the drafting and stuff. Y'all, they was attacking them. They was really upset about, because they were like, we can't pay it off, but we don't want to go fight in the war and stuff. What happened was the white woman told them, well, what you gonna do when they free? The white woman told the white men, the Irish men, well, what you gonna do when the black man is free? And he come up here, and then he need a job. He need places to live and stuff. So everybody got mad at the black man, said, "Nah, we don't want to go fight for him." Yeah. Let me turn off my heat. Oh, they got hot. I got hot. I got real hot. Well, I turned off all my heaters. I had on all my heaters. I turned every last one of them off. Shit. Because I don't know what to say to us, what to tell us without getting myself too, into it and stuff. Just pay attention to your family. Pay attention to our surroundings. Don't take no more motherfucking shots, see. I haven't taken any shots. I didn't take no vaccines. Yep, I ain't taking no vaccines either. But I went through that fog, though. And ever since I went through that fog, I do have moments of coughing and stuff. Since I went through that fog, but I don't know. It could be because, I am going through winter time. I don't know. And that fog itself, y'all, that fog is on our list of targets against Black America. Which one is it? Operation Sea Spray. Operation Sea Spray. Look it up. In San Francisco, the bay. It was ships out there on the bay. Released something into the fog, y'all. People thought it was just regular fog, but it wasn't. The fog had some chemical in it, and by noontime, people were sick. Yep, people were sick. I gotta finish doing research on it and stuff, but if you see that fog and stuff again, don't cover your mouth up. Don't inhale it and stuff because we don't know what's in it. Same thing with the chemtrails. We don't know what that is. I think the chemtrails are a man-made concoction. But that's just what I think. Hell, we've been breathing chemtrails in for decades now. I don't know. Hell, I didn't even really realize that it was chemtrails. I thought it was just, smoke or some shit from the airplanes, the jets. But now it's some type of man-made concoction. And I've been thinking about it for some years and stuff. Ooh, that air feels so good. Yes. Yeah, I ain't turning my heat back on no more. I got some footies over here. If I get chilly, yep, I'll plug these up and heat my feet up because I can't be. I apologize, y'all. I'm sorry, but yeah, I got overheated over here and stuff. Shit, but all of this is a lot, and I just want to say to y'all that with these concoctions, the chemtrails that the whole world is breathing in, it ain't like we just getting the contamination from the chemtrails in this part of the world and stuff and not over here. Now these jets going everywhere. They going from this side of the world to that side of the world. So I don't know how far across the skies these chemtrails are going, but everybody breathing it in. Now the thing is, we don't know what's going to activate it. It could be the rain. I'm just saying. It could be a certain amount of elements like mercury or aluminum, all that shit adds up. It stores up in your stuff. Fluoride. I don't know what's gonna activate it. It could be your body temperature. Like one of my jingles that I used to listen to, and he was telling about what's that, Harvard University? If I find the notes on him, I'll let y'all know. And they have made this medical device that they put in people with digestive issues, and it's like a palm. And this part right here is where the medicine is. And when their body get heated or something like that, something to tip it off. And then the fingers will squeeze and the medicine will come out. Well, they asses is using that like nanoparticles. Beat the hell out of me. They done found a way to make that little small, tiny, it's so tiny, nanoparticles and some shit like that. It's fucked up. Yep. So all of these targets right here and stuff, y'all, I don't know. We're gonna be wearing gas masks and stuff. Ask your baby. Anybody who interested in science and stuff, how they can make a mask real fast. And we need to add these other elements in it too. Because we need to have fresh air. We need to be able to filter out all of this man-made concoction, and we don't even know what it is. But yeah, we need our greatest minds now. Even among us, our greatest minds, like our brother, what was his name? Maxwell Chikumbu in Nigeria, in Zimbabwe. And he made that vehicle, y'all, and it runs off of the Earth's magnetic frequency. Oh, yeah, let me straighten this back up because, let me get some shout outs real fast. Hey there, good day. I am Kiara and Grandizer. You think it's hot flashes you got? My mama got them, Auntie Tony Carter. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure waiting on menopause. Auntie, you okay? You coughing? Take it easy. I know I got hot. Yeah, I got hot. Thank you. I sure appreciate it because I got hot. Yep, I sure did. I turned off that heater in there, and I can't turn that one back there off. It's just gonna have to stay on and stuff. But yes, so I don't know if it is menopause and stuff. I think I just got overheated and stuff, just got too hot. But we never know. But all of this, the chemtrails, like I was saying, and the man-made concoction, we breathing in so much. And then since I went through that fog anyway, I'm like, shit, hell, I ain't gonna never get my damn voice back. I know I do be on here, talking a little too loud, but I don't think that's why my voice just changed like that, But I don't hear no more about the fog now, And it was like in 32 states, y'all. The fog was people. I wrote it down because when I got out of work, it was still out there. But the next day, people were saying that they had that's too much there now, shit. People were saying that they had foam. People said that they was having foam in their swimming pools from the fog. On their ring cameras, the fog looked like snow. Yeah, they were saying it was some type of smart dust. But, I only heard it vaguely. I ain't never really done no research on smart dust. But people that went through the fog and stuff, they were caught in this jogging, running the dogs and stuff like that, hiking. And they were caught in it because it was in like 32 states. And they were suffering headaches, nosebleeds, vomiting, nauseousness, just different ailments and stuff. I was in my car on the freeway. Or I would have parked that motherfucker on the side of the road and walked back the other way. But on the freeway, once you in it, you pretty much got to go in and stuff. Anyway, but thank y'all because we got to, take care of ourselves anyway. I'm finna detox anyway. Yep, that's why I don't eat that much and stuff. I'm trying to learn to fast too. Because whatever they asses is doing and stuff, we got to counteract it. Sure do. We going to have to counteract it, honey. All this radiation and pesticides and chemicals and stuff. When you're going to get your fruits and you think you're doing good. I thought I was doing good when I started weaning off of meat and getting fruits and vegetables and stuff. No, come find out I was getting foods that had pesticides and chemicals in it. Food that had GMO, genetically modified and shit. Oh, I'm so motherfucking mad. I don't go to them places no more. So I just rather not eat shit. Fuck it. I eat once a day somewhere. And fast the rest of it and stuff. Because I was like, damn, this is fucked up. They need to let people know this. You supposed to, when you go get your fruit, you supposed to look for number 9. Because that's organic. Number 8 is for GMO, I think. It's over there. I can't see it. Number 4 is for pesticides and chemicals. But you just want number 9. You definitely don't want GMO. If you got to do anything out of all of them, get the number 9 for organic and go ahead and get the pesticides and chemicals because you can fast that out. But the GMO, that genetically modified stuff, I don't know what is genetically modified with, how they put it in a petri dish, I guess. And that's what it is. But see, that's why our elders lived so long. I was listening to somebody, they said because our elders fasted. And then they knew which herbs and spices to use also. What I got on the side of this dresser? I was looking at it the other day. I was looking at it the other day and I was wondering why I stick that on the side of the dresser. On this right here. Studies prove cilantro can remove an average of 87% lead, 91% mercury, and 74% aluminum from the body. See? Yep. I had it right there. So I write down everything. I sure do. I don't give a damn who don't like it or what. I ain't no medical doctor, nothing like that. But check your levels. Yeah, if they say, oh, you got you a little bit too much lead, mercury, aluminum, your body accumulating aluminum and stuff, honey, you better start putting cilantro on everything. I'm just saying, for us. Shit, I didn't know none of this stuff either. I'm sticking it right back on here too until I decide what I'm supposed to do with it. I got a whole thing in there with spices and herbs and stuff and ways that we can get some of this toxics and stuff out of our bodies and stuff, y'all. It's just fucked up, even the medical community and stuff. When I found out that Black people don't even make the enzyme to break down milk, I think I'm about done. Because it's like also once we couldn't breastfeed y'all motherfucking babies, y'all turned us onto this shit right here. animal milk. And that's why our sons and stuff got titties now. I didn't know. Don't be mad at me. Breasts. What they call it? Man boobs. Yeah. I apologize for the wrong terminology, but that's what they call it, man boobs. Because of the milk and stuff. We eating the wrong damn foods. We eating like white folks. Ain't I been saying that we eating like white folks? Then you know they did them studies. They turned them frogs into opposite sex. Yep, the male frog was acting feminine and the female frog was acting male. Yeah, we're acting aggressive. Yeah, this ain't what we thought it was. This ain't what we thought it was, Black America. You know, I'm not sorry to tell you. I'm glad I made it here to tell you shit. Hell, I don't know if anybody else would have been so blunt as to let you know that everybody was right. Yeah, Malcolm was right. Khalid was right. Everybody was right. Martin was right. Everybody was right. There ain't nobody I can name that wasn't right. And that just matters what you gonna do. What you gonna do? Whose side are you on? You gotta decide. Do you want to live as a people? Do you have the worth and the faith and the love for yourself, Black America? All you got to answer is who taught you to hate yourself? That's all you got to do. Allow yourself to ask these questions you need to know. I mean, if this is hell, then yeah, you want to go to heaven, even if it ain't hell. The question about that you need to ask yourself is, do I want to spend my eternity with these people right here, with these same people? Because your God, well, the white man's God, that forgive anybody that asks for forgiveness. And I'm sure Carolyn asked for forgiveness. Her husband, his brothers, they all asked for forgiveness. The lynchers in the red summer in our Bible, they all asked for forgiveness before they died. And God, because that's what religion teaches us, God will forgive you, except for if you commit suicide. Now, it might be something you know that God won't forgive. But the only thing I know that I was taught was he won't forgive suicide. God will forgive the most worst thing you could do to anybody, but he won't forgive suicide. And I always thought, oh, that's because it's taking away his right that he gave you to be here. And when you take that away from him, then yeah, he won't forgive that. But, you know, he forgive all of those who ask for repentance. And I'm sure Carolyn was sincere at some point of her asking and begging for his forgiveness when she was in the throes of cancer, because she passed away with cancer. But it wasn't for Emmett. No, it wasn't for Emmett that she was begging and pleading him and stuff. She just wanted to be in heaven and stuff. And he said he would forgive. Yeah, he said he would forgive and stuff. But for us, looking through a spiritual lens, looking through a black lens, where's the justice for Emmett? Where Emmett at in all this? That's why you got to question if you even want to spend your ever after with white folks. I don't know if they truly gonna show us like they showed our ancestors. I have no idea, honey. I don't know. It's like, you know, I'm in a twilight zone or something. This don't even seem real. I'm like, shit, did I wake up? Am I still time traveling or what? Because don't none of this seem like it's, you know, part of our true life and stuff. This ain't supposed to be, but so much being revealed, and you gotta help but wonder, where the hell did this go? Now I know we've been sincere. We ain't held nothing back. No secrets, no doubts. Now, what y'all think white America doing over there? Even though we know y'all still, white folks, the government is still here. They hand in hand. Still passing shit against us and stuff. And black folks still ain't saying, damn, why they pass that against us and stuff? Now, see, there they go with that bullshit again. We ain't even saying, talking, nothing like that. So I want to know shit. What is our plan, Black America? What is your plan for afterlife when you leave here? When we leave here? Is y'all planning on going to heaven? Is that what you're doing? You playing? You can't deal with it here, so you're gonna go to heaven. And I'm telling you now, you better think about it. You better read the Black Bible. Because once you get to heaven, where white folks is at, and white folks is in control, that white Jesus, I don't care that the Bible said he had bronze hair, bronze skin, and kinky hair. That ain't what black people mentality sees. When you say Jesus and God, black people visualize a white man. You may not, I may not, and sometimes his ass might pop up on me and I kick his ass. Get the hell up out of his shit. Let my people go. I'm just saying, for me. Because I'm going to ask his ass shit. If I ever see him, I'm going to ask him where is Simeon Toko. I'm looking for black Jesus. I'm looking for black Jesus. I'm looking for who going to come here for black people. And black people only. Black people first, as far as I'm concerned. Now, everybody done got some justice, some repentance, some repayment, but my people. So I'm here only about mine. I don't care who come in disguise and stuff. I want to know. Yeah, I got some questions to ask. All y'all asses can faint if you want to. I'm going to stand up. I want to know. I got some questions to ask because this don't even make sense to me. And I want y'all, my people, to know, no, you better really think about heaven if you want to go to heaven with white folks. I want y'all to go get this book. Go get this book. You can go order it. I don't know where it said. It's Red Summer. Yep. The Summer of 1919 and the Awakening of Black America by Cameron McWhirter. McWhirter. Go get this book right here. Because this was the awakening of Black America. This was after slavery. This was after slavery. I knew about Tulsa, but that was all I knew about the surface of Tulsa. But I had forgave it. I forgave Emmett Till, but I don't forgive nothing now. I took that forgiveness back. I sure did, because this is too much. It is entirely too much. So much happening out here and stuff. We can't even begin to contemplate what these people got in mind. And we so vulnerable and stuff. I don't know who the hell to be mad at. Our ass or they motherfucking asses. Because shit, hell, if I wasn't asleep and, in a slumber and stuff, I would have been known. The hell, something ain't right now. What's going on out here? How come people for all the love, ain't nobody just stood up and said, rah, we here for black people and help us to get a leg up. Everybody still getting their motherfucking check. Like this book right here telling about how white women got everything. They always been protected, just coddled and pampered and stuff. Didn't even have to go down to the slave auction. The auction came to them. Got money, royalty, land and stuff. How many still getting them royalties? The land. Get a $3,500 check, every 6 to 9 months. But don't nobody know it. I ain't gonna tell black people that though. All you know here is that Sabrina got money, yeah. No, she don't work and stuff, but she work part-time, but Sabrina got money and stuff. She act like she ain't got money. Sabrina got money. Oh, my ancestor. It's a whole lot. I don't even know what to say half the time about it, but I know I have to say something because I ain't going to be speechless forever. Sure ain't. It's going to be a point. I'm just going to sit down and start reading. Yep, I'm just going to sit down and start reading and stuff because I'm going to be done with saying. Y'all, you going to, by that point, hopefully you know whether you want to go to heaven with white folks or not. And you understand my point of view and how I think. Because we need some options here. Black people need options now. This way you're going to have to reel in your faith and all your hope and give yourself some credit now. Give yourself some credit for your own thoughts. And think about these things. If you must, ask your higher power. Can I at least contemplate what faith's saying? Can we at least talk about it? And go within. If your higher power is true, unless your ass following one of these white, powers and stuff, I'm just saying, I don't know. I took my name out the box. It's just cosmic energy now. It's just cosmic. It ain't got no beginning, ain't got no end. White folks don't know it. White folks can't know it. They don't identify with it. They didn't come from cosmic energy. Talking about God invented all of us. God invented us. We invented everybody else. They came from us. Cosmic energy invented us. It created the black man and the black woman. From the black man and the black woman, that's where all the other little bitty peoples come from. So hi, God. Yeah, I know, right? It makes sense to me. Y'all act like God put them down too. Like God put them down too. Oh, we know about who was it? Eve, the Eve gene, Lucy, the oldest fossil. We know about now. All of a sudden, y'all trying to make it where the oldest Karen, I guess, was on the other side of the world or some shit. So it's like, they both equal. No, we not. We not equal. You are actually goddess manifested. And you, my brother, are God manifested. The cosmos wanted to experience the human essence. And the cosmos wanted to come here and experience the human essence. And so, yeah, there you go. That's why we're hearing stuff. Yeah. And now we come back here. The reason why we keep coming back here is because we got to come back and heal the planet. Because once we got here and stuff, however white folks motherfucking asses came to be, after we was here 290,000 years, white folks came. They only been here like 8,000, 9,000 years. I know I gave it a little time because I know how y'all feel about it. I want to make this as easy as I can for you and stuff. But however white folks came to be and stuff, when I was a little girl, I was thinking that, the albinos were pushed out. Once they got up some age and stuff, they were pushed out. And they had to survive in the caves and stuff, which is how they got so lighter and lighter and lighter and stuff, And then they grew up and they came out and they mad as a motherfucker, But then I read about Yakub, the big head scientist. I think that was a myth, a fable and stuff. So I really don't know how they got here. But I know we was here long, honey, before they was even thought about. I don't know who slept with, like the Bible say, begat, and slice somebody in half and stuff, some genes and stuff to create white folks and stuff. But the cosmos did not manifest them. They came from us. Yeah, I'm just telling it like I see it and stuff, And since we talking about it, the cosmos, everybody say, God created everybody and stuff. No, God didn't create everybody. No, God created the black man and the black woman. Now, so you the one got him in a box and stuff. I ain't got it in no box. I'm just saying God, because that way, and Yahushua and Yahweh and stuff didn't create everybody. They created the black man and the black woman. Now, and it seemed to me like that's who going back to them. The black man and the black woman going back to the cosmos. Up there where you came from. So now white folks ain't going up there. White folks going to where they tell you about heaven. They tell you about heaven. They make it sound so peaceful and loving so they can get you up there. And when you get up there behind them pearly white gates, I know it seems like a story. But hell, that's all you got in the Bible. Yeah, they don't put so many stories in there and stuff. I didn't know what was true or not and stuff. I just, the contradictions is enough for me to ask. Why ain't nobody even said this and put this together for black people? They know we can't do it. We too traumatized to consider and think like this and stuff. That's why, yeah, you got it. I know your friends and family be like, oh, here she come again stuff. But you really, yeah, I don't know, honey, you better start cooking on Sundays or Fridays or something and tell everybody, come on over here. Yeah, we finna read this book. Yep, we're going to be doing this for a whole month. And we're going to be having little cookouts. Yeah, we're going to be having little cookouts. And I got everybody a book. I don't know. Be creative with it. It's your family. It's your family. We ain't gonna be drinking and stuff. Nope. We just gonna sit there. We gonna eat. We gonna be reading. We gonna be eating. We gonna be chopping it up and learning and stuff. Pick whatever book you want to. You ain't gotta start with this. I mean, start with this. You know your family and stuff. We just gotta do something, and while y'all there and stuff, and let them know what you got going on. Yeah, this right here is my inside garden and stuff. And then I was listening to Brother on a live today. And I don't know if I got to tell him or not, but it struck me when he said that, he be teaching his baby to make the plates and stuff for the family. She helped make the plates and stuff with mom and stuff. And we do see that as competition. Y'all, what all we got to do is, especially when other family and friends come over and little face done got up and done start making the plates and stuff, tell her to let the other little girls know, come on, help me make the plates and stuff. And that way she can show them how to make the plates and stuff. And, that way we won't feel like, we jealous of each other and, she going to be better than us. You teaching her to be all of that petty ass shit that we go through. We just got to utilize these things right here. That's wonderful. I was thinking about that. I don't know if I got to put that on that line, but that showed what I was thinking. We got to include us and stuff. Because, we will start feeling like, oh, shit, you think you all that and shit. We will get with that. That's why I be like, I'm happy I went to the thrift store. Yeah, sure is. I went right to the thrift store. Yeah. And, most time they be out here. You didn't get nothing at the thrift store. But I do. I truly do. So I guess, it really ain't no competition there and stuff. I'm here, shit. You been at the thrift store again? But you get some good stuff at the thrift store. That's where I got a lot of books from, at the thrift stores and stuff. In the half-price bookstores, I love them. Garage sales and yard sales. Let's read. Wet nurse for sale or hired. On a rather ordinary day, a woman named Mrs. Gerard, Girardeau, was strolling the streets of Charleston, Carolina, when she suddenly came upon a good-natured, healthy-looking Negro woman with an infant in her arms. Mrs. Gerard, I'm just going to call her as Mrs. Gerard. Mrs. Gerard happened to know of a friend who was in search of a woman to nurse her baby. So she approached the woman and asked if she knew of a wet nurse to be hired. The enslaved woman immediately told Mrs. Gerard that she was one herself and was in the hands of a broker for sale. The enslaved woman also told her that she had given birth to many children and she was therefore somewhat experienced in the care of them. Mrs. Gerard relayed the information to her friend, and the new mother, her husband, and the couple's agents immediately arranged to purchase the enslaved mother and her infant. Damn. Through parlor talk, or perhaps by the passing mention in a letter from a friend, Mrs. Gerard had learned that a mother was in need of an enslaved woman to suckle her baby, and she was able to assist in finding one. Everything that Mrs. Gerard did that day, approaching and questioning the enslaved woman about her qualifications to perform a certain kind of labor, determining that she would be suitable for that purpose, and passing along the information that would facilitate the purchase, characterized the typical transactions that unfolded every day in slave marketplaces all throughout the South. And that's how white women did. Yeah, this is about white women. Yep. They were her property. White women as slave owners in the American South. That's the name of this book right here. They wasn't just so, uninvolved. And you know how it always make them vulnerable and weak and faintful and the damsel in distress. Oh, honey, they was far from that. They asses was literally taking like a potato peeler and just rolled it all across you and stuff, doing some shit that you can't even imagine somebody could do to a child. I mean, they was just as worse, if that even. Wasn't no difference. The man was just stronger than most of them. And like many of those sales and purchases, this transaction did not start in the brick and mortar slave market. It began in a southern household, moved into the street, was finalized in a slave trader's establishment, and ended with an enslaved woman moving to a new slaveholder's home to breastfeed a white child. As this incident suggests, white women, especially mothers, were instrumental in these kinds of market transactions. They routinely sought out and procured enslaved wet nurses to suckle their children. Damn. Creating a demand for the intimate labor that such nurses performed in southern homes. They were crucial to the further commodification of enslaved women's reproductive bodies. Through the appropriation of their breast milk and the nutritive and maternal care they provided to white children, the demand among slave-owning women for enslaved wet nurses transformed the ability to suckle into a skilled form of labor and created a largely invisible niche sector of the slave market that catered exclusively to white women. White women had their own area of the slave trade. Sure did. Just like the white men got the slaves to work the fields so his ass didn't have to do it. The white woman decided, hey, what about me? I need some slaves, so hell, I don't want to breastfeed. I ain't trying to feed no babies and shit. I ain't trying to cook and clean. Hell, I'm going to need some slaves too. Yep, she had her own. Sure did, honey. Breastfeeding, that was totally hers. That was all her. Because cooking and cleaning can serve the woman and the man. That serve everybody, cooking and cleaning. But breastfeeding, that serves only the white woman. Oh, my ancestors. You see it right there? The demand among slave-owning women for enslaved wet nurses transformed the ability to suckle into a skilled form of labor and created a largely invisible niche sector of the slave market that catered exclusively to white women. The intersection between slave markets and southern households can shed light on the formal as well as informal markets through which enslaved mothers circulated. It also enables us to examine white women's investments in these markets and the roles they played in creating them. And such an exploration reveals details about Southern slavery which challenge characterizations of skilled enslaved labor as largely performed by men. The labor that enslaved wet nurses performed remains relatively invisible in historical studies of American slave markets and scholarship about Southern motherhood. I'm sure it do. Because during this whole thing right here, I bet you never thought, you never imagined, you never dreamed that white women were just as ruthless and brutal and devilish as the white men was. You never thought it. How could you? When scholars do address the issue, they discuss these women in ways that do not fully account for how they circulated within Southern households, communities, and the slave market. Even though white mothers routinely sought out and procured enslaved wet nurses to suckle their children, scholars of the slave market and trade generally ignore the roles they played in the transaction. A recent study contends that it was white men who were largely responsible for converting enslaved women's breast milk into capital. That's besides the point. It was on behalf of the white woman. It was for the white woman that it was done. And she knew it. The consensus among historians, and they ain't never even tried to rectify that. They see? And I have been talking about, milk ain't nothing but cow pus and blood. That's all white milk is. Cow milk is pus and blood, y'all. And white women, they ain't even tried to tell us, stop drinking cow milk. Y'all ain't got to drink it no more. We don't need you to nurse our babies anymore, but y'all need to stop drinking cow milk. They ain't even told us that. For all the motherfucking love that they feel for you. I just thought about that and stuff, reading this right here. Ain't that some shit? What y'all gonna do now? Even though white mothers routinely sought out and procured enslaved wet nurses to suckle their children, scholars of the slave market and trade generally ignore the roles they played in the transaction. A recent study contends that it was white men who were largely responsible for converting enslaved women's breast milk into capital. He's still trying to protect her. They still trying to protect white women. She's still very protected, very provided for. So when all of this shit pop off again and stuff, they can come back together. Karen and Brad, Jennifer and Ken. They all can come back together again. Because see, she done did her part for whatever she did during this whole sacrificial lamb, better known as Black America, in the past few decades. They've done their part as far as they were gonna do it. Now that the shit finna hit the fan and everybody of them are gonna go back with each other and stuff, I don't know where this gonna leave Black America and stuff. Some of you done got yourselves in these big ass houses with them and stuff on the outskirts of town, with all these kids and stuff. And when Karen kicked that door in, because now see, yeah, is that the new slavery? I don't know. We jumped in head first, didn't ask no questions. And now it's looking like anything might happen. The way I'm reading this stuff, because these people, these people is undependable. They untrustworthy and stuff. They so manipulative towards Black people and stuff, honey. Yeah, I don't know. We got a long way to go to read between the lines and stuff. I think people should have just been straight up with us from the, I mean, after, because Martin and Malcolm was, when Martin said, I led my people in the burning house, he did let us know that, but it was almost too late. I didn't know about that until my adulthood, what Martin said. And, then when I learned about Malcolm X and stuff, who taught you to hate yourself, those things. But then it seemed like after them, we didn't really get any more matter of fact quotes and prompts for us to consider. It just seemed like everything just got watered down after that right there and there. So that's why, I ain't finna water down shit here. Wake y'all asses up, because you don't know who the hell white folks is. I don't need shit. I feel like here the animals gonna wake up and tell us, damn, how long was y'all asses gonna stay asleep? Okay, let's read. The consensus among historians holds that white elite and middle-class mothers tend to use enslaved wet nurses only as a last resort, not because they were readily available. That's what they thought. It says the consensus among historians, that's what historians say. Of course, that's what they're going to say, holds that white elite and middle-class mothers tended to use enslaved wet nurses only as a last resort, not because they were readily available. Sally McMillan, for example, quantified infant feeding practices for the years 1800 to 1860 and found only 73 comments about the subject in her selected sources, which were primarily elite women's diaries and personal correspondence. She concluded that 20% of these women used wet nurses. She also argued that enslaved women rarely attested to serving as wet nurses. And she pointed to this as further evidence that white women rarely use them in this way. Such a small sample of documents, however, particularly those that well-to-do literate women left behind, does not tell us much about the practice among the non-elite white women who made up the female majority living in the South during this period. Many formerly enslaved people, not just enslaved women, remarked upon white mothers' use of enslaved wet nurses, and they used a range of terms, nuss, suckle, titty, to describe wet nursing in their testimony. They also used the term breast interchangeably or along with these terms. A more nuanced examination of their testimony that includes all the WPA interviews rather than simply the interviews with women who personally served as wet nurses, and that bears their more complex terminology in mind, reveals that enslaved people talked about the practice of wet nursing far more than McMillan ever claimed. Even when they describe enslaved women serving as nurses to white infants, they make it clear to their interviewers that wet nursing was the kind of nursing about which they spoke. It was equally important to acknowledge that the questionnaire that the WPA's National Advisor on Folklore and Folkways developed did not include any questions about slave owners' maternal or parenting practices, nor did it include specific questions about the practice of wet nursing. This might explain why a formerly enslaved person would neglect to mention the practice in an interview. The alleged scarcity in such testimony might also be explained by the fact that the WPA writers interviewed only about 2% of the formerly enslaved people who were still alive in the 1930s. Imagine all those that wasn't alive, didn't make it. It should be books on all of our ancestors and stuff. Yeah. If we knew, it would be. Our families would have been telling their stories. 10,000 people fled Tulsa in shock. They would have been telling our stories, but we didn't know. We just thought it'll get better. It is likely that formerly enslaved people neglected to mention wet nurses or wet nursing during their interviews because the nature of the questions did not goad them to do so. And a larger sample of formerly enslaved interviewees would have produced more references to the practice if the writers had been able to locate these people and record their testimony. In the 19th century, the use of enslaved African American wet nurses by white Southern women was troubling to outsiders and to some Southerners as well. However, their discomfort did not arise because wet nursing was an unusual practice. Mothers have placed their infants at the breasts of other women since antiquity. Moreover, in her study of the cultural significance of nursing and infant caregiving in the early modern England and British North America, Mary Lynn Salmon discovered that people of European descent used breast milk for a host of medicinal purposes because they believed that it possessed a life-giving force. Yeah. People of European descent used breast milk for a host of medicinal purposes because they believed that it possessed a life-giving force. In this way, the milk that mothers produced served a communal good. Whether this assumption characterized how Anglo-Americans understood enslaved women's breast milk in the 18th century is unclear. What is clear, however, is that by the 19th century, Anglo-Americans had grown increasingly concerned about the power of bodily fluids and a child's ability to imbibe moral and racial essences through a woman's breast milk. Fears of contamination served as the basis for stern warnings to new mothers about putting their babies at the breast of strange women. Medical professionals and authors of maternal and infant advice literature strongly encourage mothers to assume complete responsibilities for nursing their own children. They caution them against delegating this task to other women or feeding their infants by bottle and other unnatural methods. And they summarily shame mothers who chose not to take their advice. Such attitudes are particularly important when considering the matter of cross-racial and cross-ethnic wet nursing. In the 19th century, as the United States witnessed unparalleled waves of European immigration, and as nativist, Nativist, as nativist fears influenced the attitudes of American-born whites toward the people entering the country's major urban centers, male physicians and scientists embraced this problematic understanding of breast milk with renewed fervor. F-E-R-V-E-R. They cautioned American-born white mothers against sending their children to immigrant women to nurse because breast milk served as a means by which women passed their traits on to their infants. The association between breast milk and moral and physiological contagion spread throughout the South and faced Southerners with a peculiar paradox. If breast milk carried the racial and moral essence of the lactating mother, and African Americans were morally and biologically inferior beings, what would be the fate of the white children who suckled at the breast of the enslaved? Many white Southern women thought of their own fragile health, which prevented them from nursing or producing an adequate milk supply, and decided that using a wet nurse was essential, regardless of their repulsion. Other white Southerners decided that the bound condition of enslaved wet nurses was the problem, not their race. A formerly enslaved man named John Van Hook claimed that in the part of Georgia where he resided, it was considered a disgrace for a white child to feed at the breast of a slave woman, but it was all right if the darky was a free woman. John's great-great-grandmother, Sarah Angel, earned her freedom because of this aversion. A member of the Angel family needed a wet nurse, and since Sarah Angel was nursing a child of her own, the family chose to use her. They did not want Sarah to sleep in the slave quarters while she was feeding the white baby, so they freed her. Most slave owners were not so generous. On some plantations, like the one where Peggy Sloan was raised, slave owners had a woman to look after the little colored children, and they had one to look after the white children. Sloan's owners charged her enslaved mother with wet nursing the white infants, though despite the racial division in maternal care, her mother was permitted to suckle her along with her mistress's children. The owners did not free Sloan's mother so that she could perform this labor, however. White Southern mothers grapple with the paradox of cross-racial wet nursing by prioritizing the health of their infants over all else and subordinating the needs of enslaved women and their children in the process. These white women were instrumental in creating a market for enslaved wet nurses' labor. In doing so, they helped augment the potential value of enslaved women within Southern slave markets more broadly. Damn. While white mothers routinely expressed a desire to nurse their own children, many were too ill or too weak following childbirth, and they couldn't nurse or could do so only with great difficulty. Newspapers targeted women who experienced those difficulties with advertisements like the one captioned, "Sore and swelled breast," that appeared in the Ripley Advertiser. Since the invention of Bragg's Arctic liniment, the ad proclaimed mothers no longer were obliged to transfer their infant children to the care of a wet nurse if their own breast should be sore or swollen. All that is necessary is to procure some of Bragg's Arctic liniment and rub the affected areas with it, the affected parts with it gently for a few times, and the evil is remedied. Oof. Esther Cox, a white South Carolina matron who frequently corresponded with her daughters after they gave birth, advised them on what to do when their bouts of weakness, ailments affecting their breast, or other infants' seeming unwillingness to nurse made it difficult to breastfeed. She recommended that her daughter Mary apply a salve to her hardened breast, a treatment that proved to be a fine remedy for another woman experiencing similar problems nursing her infant. However, after a year, Mary still struggled to nurse her child. Blocked milk ducts and breast infections could endanger the lives of nursing mothers. Such complications could even require a surgical intervention that involved removing portions of the breast. Faced with these circumstances, women often had little choice but to call upon other women, who were often enslaved, to care for their infants, a practice referred to as mercenary nursing in the 19th century Brazil. Mercenary nursing, they even named it. Formerly enslaved people described the circumstances that would lead a white mother to use an enslaved wet nurse for her children, and their recollections support the argument that some white women was too ill or physically unable to nurse their infants following childbirth. As white mothers recovered from the effects of childbirth, enslaved women provided nutritive care to their infants. Other white mothers could not nurse their own children because of insufficient milk production or because their infants could not suckle. But maternal unfitness or fictitious infants alone did not explain the prevalence of enslaved wet nurses among white Southern families. Formerly enslaved people such as Rachel Sullivan, claimed that the use of enslaved wet nurses for white infants was a widespread practice. According to Sullivan, all the white ladies had wet nurses them days. Betty Curlett, Curlett, believed that other women used wet nurses for purely aesthetic reasons. White women wouldn't nurse their own babies because it would make their breasts fall. Some white mothers, such as Jane Pettigrew, Petigru, I know some Pettigrews, yep, it's spelled different, cited convenience. She had a distaste for breastfeeding her own infants because it made her a slave to her children. Her reluctance becomes more understandable in light of the number of children Southern mothers bore in the 18th and 19th centuries. Historians estimate that women in the Old South on average gave birth to between 5 and 12 living children during their lifetimes. Formerly enslaved people described their own mothers being tasked with feeding all their mistresses' children, even when nothing prevented their mistresses from doing so themselves. Mary Jane Jones claimed that her mother would have a baby every time my missus would have one, so that my mother was always the wet nurse for the mistress. Eugenia Woodbury breastfed all of her mistress's children too. Maddie Logan recalled that her mother, Lucinda, nursed all Miss Jenny's children because all her youngers and my mammies was born so close together. Logan thought this arrangement was a pretty good idea for the mistress, for it didn't keep her tied to the place, and she could visit around her friends most of the time she wanted. Thought having to worry without having to worry if the babies would be fed or not. In order to expedite this labor arrangement, Lucinda's mistress had a 2-room cabin built behind the main house, away from the other slave quarters, for Lucinda and her family. The practice of using enslaved women as wet nurses placed increasing physical demands on them. Enslaved mothers were generally deprived of adequate food and nutrition to support and sustain their own health, much less that of 2 or 3 babies. And white mothers dealt with these difficulties as they might any other household problem. The slave owner, Ella Gertrude Thomas, used a number of enslaved wet nurses to feed her children, and when one woman could not produce enough milk for Thomas's infant and her own, she would replace her. As this testimony suggests, in some households, breastfeeding simply constituted another form of labor that slave owners required enslaved women to perform. For Warren Taylor's mother, nursing white children was one of her primary jobs. Nursing white children was the only work that Mary Kitchen Edwards performed during slavery. And that's Mary Kitchen right there. Yeah, we saw her the other day, but we had just started reading. Mary Kitchen Edwards, formerly enslaved woman who served as a wet nurse, born in slavery, if you want to look it up. Born in Slavery, the Slave Narratives from the Federal Writers Project, 1936 to 1938. Digital collection, Library of Congress, Manuscript Division. As the testimony suggests, in some households, breastfeeding simply constituted another form of labor that slave owners required enslaved women to perform. For Warren Taylor's mother, nursing white children was one of her primary jobs. Nursing white children was the only work that Mary Kitchen Edwards performed during slavery. These recollections make it clear that enslaved women were given birth on a routine basis. But what often remains unexplored is what led to these constant conceptions. While enslaved women performed the most arduous forms of labor in their owners' fields and households, they also had to conceive, carry a pregnancy to full term, give birth, and lactate in order to be able to serve as wet nurses. Sources suggest that this is precisely what happened. Some of the enslaved women's children were undoubtedly conceived within relationships of love, but others were undoubtedly the result of sexual assault. John Street was a married slave owner who also ran a business in which he held slaves and then sold them to slave dealers. Louisa Street, one of the enslaved women he owned, conceived 3 children by him. Amy Elizabeth Patterson and her twin sisters, Fanny and Martha. Street's wife gave birth to an infant around the same time that Amy Elizabeth was born. In her interview, Patterson alluded to the fact that she was a child born of violence and that her mistress knew the facts surrounding her conception. Despite this knowledge, her mistress gave her white child to Louisa to nurse alongside Patterson, a decision that must have added to the psychological trauma Louisa Street suffered after the rape. Look at these people. Hey, let's see how long we got to read this chapter right here. I mean, honey, yes, I never thought that, white folks was this. I never thought that white folks would actually be, shown to us. After they've been showing us, Maya Angelou said when people show you who they are to believe them and stuff, and we never believed it about white people. And now it's just right in our face. Historians have also examined the commodification of maternal labor and the wet nurse marketplaces in the United States, but their studies focus primarily upon markets in the North rather than the South. Such studies are nonetheless useful for understanding the contours of the Southern wet nurse marketplace and identifying key differences between the markets in these two regions. The historian, Janet Golden, I thought they were close. Janet Golden describes an informal northern market in which white parents would seek out and procure wet nurses by word of mouth through familial and communal networks. She also uncovered an urban marketplace, a labor network in the North in which free white women, often poor immigrants, single mothers, or wayward or fallen women, were the primary providers. This marketplace was particularly active from the 1850s to the 1870s. It depended upon medical referrals and employment recommendations and involved a number of public facilities, intelligence officers, and benevolent organizations that gradually institutionalized the use of wet nurses and offered these women services to parents of all social classes. It was largely organized by patterns of immigration, ethnic stereotypes, and racial prejudice, as well as medical thinking and local domestic practices. Golden argues that the wet nurse marketplace responded not only to the creation of new sources of supply, but also to shifting levels of demand. And newspapers proved crucial to recruitment. In a review of Northern newspaper advertisements, she identified a distinct vocabulary that characterized the wet nurse marketplace, one that served as a kind of shorthand and combined the vernaculars of medicine and domestic service. It emphasized 4 qualities: good health, upstanding character, plentiful milk, and milk that was fresh. And individuals incorporated such phrases when they placed ads for their ideal wet nurses. Wet nurse advertisements exposed the real economic value of mothers as producers because employment of a wet nurse provided needed income for poor mothers, while for middle class and elite families, the hiring of a wet nurse replaced the productivity of the mother. In the South, the use of enslaved wet nurses' bodies and the circulation of these women through the region's slave markets present other ways to understand the economic dimensions of maternal labor in the 19th century. In the context of slavery, the Southern wet nurse marketplace operated differently from the Northern one. The institution of slavery permitted slave owners, slave traders, and prospective hires and buyers to manipulate and examine the bodies of enslaved women in ways that were unavailable to white parents in the North. Many laws regarding slavery allowed owners to ignore an enslaved mother's desire to nurse and raise her own children. And white Southern women were among those who took full advantage of their access to enslaved women's bodies and labor. These women were instrumental in creating a market for enslaved wet nurses, determining how such women would be employed and seeking them out within and beyond the walls of the slave yard. Southern women constructed and participated in an informal market network of family and friends from within their own homes, and they relied on this network for information about enslaved wet nurses who might be available. The market was informal in the sense that it was contingent upon the circulation of wet nurses, largely outside the brick and mortar slave market, and it did not usually involve the exchange of currency, although money did occasionally change hands. Rather, this informal market resembled other female-dominated systems of barter and exchange that characterized early American households. It was common practice for women in the North and the South to support their families by bartering and exchanging home-produced goods and foodstuffs with other women in their communities. And in similar ways, white women routinely borrowed enslaved people from and lent them to one another. They were, in essence, bartering and exchanging enslaved wet nurses as living goods. And in this context, enslaved mothers could be transferred from one person to another without diminishing their value in the formal slave market. Unlike other barter exchanges, these white women did not produce enslaved wet nurses through their own labor, but they did claim ownership of their bodies and the products of wet nurses' labor, their breast milk. The narratives of enslaved people and the slave-owning women's personal letters and the diaries attest to the existence of this informal market, and its informality has generally obscured it from history's view. We're going to read the slave narratives too. An advertisement that Sophia Young submitted to the General Gazette and Baltimore Daily Advertising suggests another possible reason this market has escaped our attention. Young was a midwife who practiced her craft in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And in her ad, she notified potential clients that she had relocated. She also wanted them to know that a good wet nurse could be heard of by applying to her. Midwives were the principal individuals involved in women and infants' care during childbirth and in the colonial area and much of the 19th century. And they offered their clients medical advice and passed on pertinent information about childcare. Young's aside about the availability of a good wet nurse suggests that this kind of information might have circulated among other midwives and the mothers they assisted, obviating the need to advertise for such help. The women who supplied enslaved wet nurses capitalized on their informal connections in order to procure other kinds of enslaved laborers, as we can see from a case involving two St. Landry Parish, Louisiana residents. During the summer of 1827, Elizabeth Patterson hired out an enslaved woman named Becky to George Jackson's wife as a wet nurse for her young son. Patterson initially offered Becky's services gratuitously, because the enslaved woman was of no use to her. Patterson reasoned that by hiring Becky to the Jacksons, she would be spared the expense of caring for her. Mrs. Jackson apparently informed her husband about the proposal, but he was unwilling to accept the services without paying for them. Mrs. Jackson went to Patterson's plantation the following day, and Patterson once again proposed that she take the enslaved woman, whom she agreed to hire out for $6 or $7 a month. Mrs. Jackson and her husband accepted the offer. After Patterson finalized the deal with the Jacksons, she in turn hired 3 enslaved men from them to work her sugar plantation during the 1827 and 1828 grinding seasons. These negotiations illustrated how slave-related transactions might unfold outside the formal marketplace. They also highlight the roles white women, especially new mothers, played on both ends of these transactions. Moreover, they underscored the equivalence between field and maternal labor, two kinds of work that are often categorized quite differently, and the value slave owners placed on each. Here we could say that the labor of one wet nurse was considered equivalent to that of 3 field hands. There were parallels between the former wet nurse marketplaces in the North and the South, but there were also important divergences. Whereas the former wet nurse marketplace of the North involved agencies and organizations that profited from the labor of free white women, advertisements posted in Southern newspapers established direct connections between the wet nurse marketplace and the slave market. As the historian Frederick Bancroft observed, the slave wet nurse was a peculiar but not rare commodity, and she could, if buxom, spare one ample breast for the profit of her owner. Furthermore, if she was of good character and appearance, she was at a premium. Thousands of advertisements for wet nurses appeared in Southern newspapers throughout the late 18th and the 19th centuries. In a sample of 57 19th century newspapers published in Alabama, in a sample of 57 19th century newspapers published in Alabama, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Louisiana, Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Mississippi, Missouri, and Tennessee. Dang, that look like all of the states that we got the slave codes on. It sure do. I'm gonna look it up and see too. When I see that list, here it is right here. Alabama slave codes is Virginia. Is Virginia on the list? Yep, Virginia on the list. South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Florida. It's more on here than it is on here, I think. But let's read. In Tennessee, individuals placed 1,322 advertisements for wet nurses between 1800 and 1865. Damn! In close to 300 of those advertisements, individuals placed wet nurse wanted or wet nurse wanted immediately advertisements, wording which highlights the demand and often urgent need for these women's labor. In these ads, slave owners and potential hirers actively sought out colored, Negro, and enslaved women within slave hiring markets throughout the South. These advertisements also revealed the vibrant hiring market. These advertisements also revealed the vibrant hiring market that white Southerners created in order to fulfill the demand for enslaved women's maternal labor. White women wanted that milk, and white men made sure they got it. Women were key to defining the contours of this market because they were ultimately responsible for deciding which wet nurses would best serve their infants' needs. They were the primary hirers and the only laborers. Yet many historians still describe the Southern slave hiring marketplace as a male purview, Purview. Women entered slave hiring markets to obtain both enslaved wet nurses and other kinds of enslaved laborers. In the small town of Mount Sterling, Kentucky, the buying, selling, and hiring of enslaved people took place at 10 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day. You shouldn't celebrate another motherfucking New Year's Day. Don't celebrate it. New Year's is not in the middle of winter anyway. This was a highly public family and community affair. Whoa. In the small town of Mount Sterling, Kentucky, the buying, selling, and hiring of enslaved people took place at 10 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day. This was a highly public family and community affair in which the sale, the purchase, and the hire of enslaved people took place among throngs of men, women, and children. Such transactions were not confined to or bound within the slave yard. Some took place in the streets. The people who flocked from various parts of the country represented every stratum of society, including African Americans, and attendees represented all age groups. As the author and educator William Harry Venable, Venable, walked through the crowd, he overheard one enslaved woman express dismay about the white woman who had just agreed to hire her. She was crying because it had fallen to her lot to serve a mistress whom she feared. Venable's account not only suggests that women were present at public events where enslaved people were hired and sold, it also reveals that they were active participants. What is more, this enslaved woman's lamentations indicate that her new mistress may have routinely hired enslaved people because she had acquired a reputation among slaves for being difficult to please, or because she wanted to, that's her excuse. That's who she can let all her anger out on, the slave women that she didn't like. What is more, this enslaved woman's lamentations indicate that her new mistress may have routinely hired enslaved people because she had acquired a reputation among slaves for being difficult to please or even cruel, and they circulated this knowledge among themselves. While the southern market in enslaved wet nurses was primarily a hiring one, white mothers' demands for these women eventually led to the development of a niche sector of the slave market in which individuals offered wet nurses for sale. Men such as Robert Hill and the firms like R.M. Montgomery and Company. Ooh, who the fuck is they now? Because they'll change some names on our asses. Yeah, R.M. Montgomery and Company also sought out enslaved wet nurses to purchase for their families or on their clients' behalf. On two separate occasions, Brian Cape and Company offered enslaved women and their children for sale and noted the mother's ability to serve as wet nurses. Even when the nation was in the throes of civil war, J.W. Jordan Sr. of Renwick, Georgia, placed an advertisement in the Macon Daily Telegraph through which he sought to buy or hire a young and healthy and intelligent enslaved wet nurse. Other advertisements informed interested subscribers that they would buy or hire the enslaved wet nurses mentioned. Slave traders were responsible for placing most of the advertisements related to selling rather than hiring enslaved wet nurses. The well-known New Orleans slave trader James W. Bozeman, Boazman, placed an advertisement in the Daily Crescent in which he offered a wet nurse about 19 years of age with her second child for sale. He planned to sell them both at a low price for cash, fully guaranteed, TIED. That is, they were free of any ailments that might impair their function or their value. Hundreds of miles away in Charleston, South Carolina, the slave trading firm Capers and Haywood placed an advertisement in the Mercury in which they offered an enslaved wet nurse for private purchase. Male slave traders may have dominated these advertisements as the purveyors of enslaved wet nurses, but they placed them with an eye toward a female clientele. As in the northern marketplace, individuals in the southern market emphasized good health, upstanding character, and plentiful fresh milk when they sought or offered the services of enslaved wet nurses. A typical advertisement, for example, will request a healthy Negro woman with a fresh breast of milk to suckle and nurse an infant child. But one important difference distinguished the language used in the southern marketplace from that in the northern marketplace. And then it just got some, we read that right there. For sale, a wet nurse about 19 years of age, which her second child, 6-week-old, would be sold low for cash, fully guaranteed. Also, a first-rate seamstress who can eat out and fit well. Also, several first-rate house servants, mechanics, and field hands. Those who wish to purchase would do well to call on the undersigned before buying elsewhere. And then the other one was private sales. Healthy young wet nurse, Capers in Haywood. Damn, that's on my birthday. That's on my birthday. Oh, my ancestors. Shit. Private sales. Healthy young wet nurse, Capers in Haywood. Offer at private sale a young and healthy wet nurse. For further particulars, apply at our office, Southside Adgers Wharf, ADGERS, WHARP. See? Let me circle that so you can see. My birthday is June the 7th. I was born on Prince's birthday. Y'all know that's the day that they lynched James Byrd, June the 7th. It's my birthday right there. Yeah, look. See? You see that right there? June the 7th. It's in the book. It is in the book. I thank y'all for being here with me through this. I thank you. Capers and Haywood newspaper ad for private sale of enslaved wet nurse. Charleston Mercury. That's the newspaper, I guess. June the 7th, 1856. 19th century U.S. newspapers database. Cengage Gale. Cengage/Gale. And then I got to tell y'all what I found today, too. I forgot it, but I'm going to bring it for lunchtime tomorrow. I'm going to go get it. In the morning, I'm going to get it. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what I found. As soon as I finish this story right here, then we're going to wrap it up. We're going to process this, honey, because folks ain't got a lot of us no more. You ain't got a lot of my people no more. Sure don't. Southern advertisers not only use the vernaculars of medicine and domestic service to describe their wares, they drew upon the lexicon of the slave market. Terms such as likely, good, excellent, and superior, and phrases like first rate and number one allow slave traders to assign value to the bodies of the individuals they advertise by placing these slaves within sellable lots. That's why we so jealous of each other and stuff, and hate to think that the next one has got more and look better, and clothes is more new, your hair comb, you smell good. Because of all of this shit, that's why. And your dime pieces and your bad bitches and stuff. Everybody want to be that. Competing with each other and stuff. Because of white America. They also enable slave dealers to place enslaved people in racial categories. And the terms and phrases they used came to signify the ideal characteristics prospective buyers sought in enslaved people. Traders often emphasized that the enslaved people they hoped to sell were sound in mind and body, and were thereby healthy and free from injury or disease. The characters and personal histories of enslaved people were equally important factors to those selecting them. When white Southerners were in the market for enslaved wet nurses, or when ordinary folks hoped to sell them, they used the terminology of the slave market. Thomas Thiner, Thiner, for example. He placed an advertisement in the Charleston Mercury that offered a likely colored wet nurse, 17 years old for hire. A Richmond area agent and collector named O.H. Chalkley, Chalkley, announced that he had a superior wet nurse who was a first-rate character on hand for anyone interested. Other Southerners sought wet nurses who were neat and sound in body and reputation. None of these qualifiers or phrases would strike Southerners as strange, especially in regard to buying or hiring enslaved laborers. The individuals who place these ads are also understood that white mothers that place these ads also understood that white mothers would be equally familiar with these terms and phrases as well as their coded meaning. Their coded meaning. Wow. See, they always on code. See, that's that code they on. And they on code right now. All this past time, these past few decades that we've been intermingling and working and protesting and organizing and stuff, hell, they've been on code then. Your ass ain't out here patrolling your own communities, is you? You still ain't got a leg up where you can make something happen for yourself, have you? And white women, they the ones that claim, oh, we can get in spaces you can't get in. For what? So your ass can shut the door? So you can hide the paperwork? I'm just saying. Shit, what the fuck? I don't think I'm gonna come here and lie to you and make it seem like, oh no, face, they did all they could do. No, the fuck they didn't. Hell, they motherfucking asses always on code. Shit, they just making a fool out of Black America. Well, don't be no fool and no dummy and say, I didn't tell your ass. In the context of Southern slave markets, enslaved mothers' breast milk was a commodity that could be bought and sold, and buyers and sellers recognized these women's ability to suckle as a form of largely invisible yet skilled labor. The conception of what constituted skilled labor in general use among scholars is far too narrow to account for the kind of work that enslaved women performed or the prices they commanded when exposed for sale. Furthermore, it does not take into account the computational logic white Southerners use to assign value to certain types of labor or the ways gender shape their appraisals. Georgia slave owners not only assigned significant value to the kinds of labor women performed every day, work that historians do not typically define as skilled, they differentiated among levels of skill in their routine tasks and appraisal of value of enslaved women accordingly. So what the fuck did they do? Test the milk. Her milk this way, her milk that way. The babies come out more healthier, more livelier, more what? How? For them to sit here and it's like if slavery hadn't ended, white women would have built up a whole empire off of our milk. It wouldn't have been we wouldn't have seen cow milk in the stores. It would have been black woman's milk in the motherfucking grocery store. Shit, don't tell me they motherfucking asses hell wasn't part of this. Hell, I just read about it, hell, that they asses was part of it. Shh. Y'all trust them motherfuckers. Shit. Hell, they probably standing over your ass at night. Ooh-wee. Yeah, honey, they would have built an empire off of black women's breast milk. It wouldn't have been no cow milk in them damn stores, grocery stores and shit. It would have been black women's milk. Hell, they still want black women's milk. Cow milk ain't satisfying them. Hell, you see their ass got to drink 3-4 goddamn glasses at one time. Shit, they got addicted to that black milk and stuff. And yeah. But let's read. Furthermore, it does not take into account, no, I already read that right there. Wet nursing was a kind of work that only women could perform. And more often than not, white women were the ones who assessed enslaved mothers' levels of skill and efficiency. As with other kinds of labor, breastfeeding requires certain qualifications and skills. Women had to be physically capable of nursing children. They had to learn how to breastfeed, and they needed to refine their skills over time. Some mothers could not nurse children, and some were more adept at it than others. This might prove especially true when we consider the impact of environmental factors such as diet, previous illness, or problems during pregnancy. All the factors could adversely impact an enslaved woman's long-term health, her ability to produce plentiful milk supplies, and avoid medical conditions associated with nursing, such as mastitis, and ultimately her ability to be an effective wet nurse. I've heard that word before, mastitis. I think you have to have a surgery or something to have it cut off or something. Yeah, but I've seen it. I ain't really, yeah. Historians who view nursing a child as natural rather than a form of skilled labor ignore the view of the white mothers who sought the services of enslaved white nurses. Yeah. Of the enslaved mothers themselves and of the men and women who sold and hired out enslaved mothers themselves. And of the men and women who sold and hired out enslaved mothers for this purpose, all of whom most certainly saw it as such. Individuals in need of a wet nurse often sought enslaved women who had previous experience breastfeeding white children, and Southerners who had such women to hire or sell made sure to remark upon their experience in their advertisements. In a number of such advertisements, owners indicated that the enslaved mothers they sought to hire out were accustomed to attending to white children and were well experienced in that line of work, had served as wet nurses in the most genteel families, or had previously given suck to a white child. White Southerners not only assessed enslaved women's level of skill by determining whether they possessed previous experience, they also evaluated and graded the quality of enslaved women's milk as young, good, very good, fine, and excellent. Didn't I just ask how the hell did they categorize the black woman's milk? How? So it would have been like you got like now the cow milk. You got red, you got the red top, the yellow top, the pink top, the blue top, the white top. With the black woman's milk, that would have been you got the good, young, very good, fine, and excellent. That would have been your different milks. That would have been the different milks. All these substitutions. See, this right here just seemed like white folk just substituted the real thing. Yeah. Your ass, you be lucky hell if they don't start that shit again. You don't know. You don't know what they got in mind. White mothers assessed the quality of enslaved wet nurses' milk using factors that included the age of the enslaved woman's current infant and the number of children she had previously born. The younger her child, the fresher or younger the milk was presumed to be. Occasionally, the milk was labeled with the child's age, as when an individual in Savannah, Georgia, sought a wet nurse with milk from 6 to 7 months old. Well, damn. Prospective buyers and vendors also judged the quality of the milk by determining whether the children the mother was nursing were thriving. As advertisement in the City Gazette and Commercial Daily Advertiser of Charleston stated that the enslaved mother on offer for hire had given suck to a white child for a short time past who is very healthy. In her chance encounter with a wet nurse, Mrs. Gerard had visually examined the fine, healthy-looking infant in the enslaved mother's arms as she conversed with her on the street. Based on the enslaved mother's previous experience and the conclusions Gerard drew about the health of the woman's infant, Gerard determined that the woman might suit the needs of her acquaintance, and she was right. Ella Gertrude Thomas, who had employed a number of wet nurses, also determined that Georgiana, her enslaved wet nurse at the time, was suitable once her son commenced to fatten. Yeah, that's what it say, commenced to fatten. Fatten. Once he got to fattening up, that's all she knew. Yeah. Prevailing scholarship that focuses on skilled enslaved labor does not attend to this particular kind of labor or the systems that Southerners use to evaluate and grade it. In his Global History of Cotton and Capitalism, Sven, S-V-E-N, Van Becker argued that the logic of capital was forced upon the logic of nature, a process that changed the way the cotton itself was seen. The same could be said about breast milk, which was, like cotton, a product of nature that enslaved people cultivated and produced, and white Southerners sold it. Just as cotton growers created grading systems that informed interested parties about the quality of the cotton for sale, white Southerners, they developed a system by which to inform potential buyers and hires about the quality of enslaved women's breast milk. So you know how cotton, if it's a good crop or it come in weak and it don't weigh much, the seeds is little, and it determines the price on the cotton. Well, the same thing with the breast milk. If it was a good grade of breast milk and stuff, then it's more money. But if it wasn't, then it was less money. They had grades for it and stuff. Our bodies, our milk. Yeah, it wasn't no part of us that white folks did not have at their leisure. And just to keep us around them, that barely satiates them. Just barely. Advertisers. On occasion, prospective hires and buyers wanted enslaved wet nurses to do more than suckle white children, and the slave traders, brokers, and slave owners who had such women in their possession knew exactly how to appeal to them. Advertisers touted, Touted, touted enslaved wet nurses' skills as seamstresses, washerwomen, house servants, and ironers, or advised prospective hirers that an enslaved female laborer could double as a wet nurse. Damn, just work the hell out of them. That's if the need be. The firm Milliken, Primerose and Company advertised a valuable young Negro wench, about 23 years of age, along with her son, whom they described as a likely smart boy about 6 years old. The woman was a house servant, but promised the firm she would be valuable as a wet nurse. 2. In the winter of 1820, the Charleston jeweler John Baptiste Duplat similarly advertised a wench who was an excellent house servant, cook, washer, and ironer, and a good wet nurse with her infant child for sale. Theodore A. Whitney. And that was John Baptiste Duplat, not the John Baptiste that founded Chicago. D-U-P-L-A-T. Theodore A. Whitney, W-H-I-T-N-E-Y, a broker and an auctioneer in the Charleston area, was more aggressive as he used bold capital letters to advertise a wet nurse, seamstress, washer, ironer, and house servant. Her child about 6 weeks old, and a boy to attend to it in the Southern Patriot. He clarified that the woman could be hired either as a wet nurse or either of the above capacities, and he reassured interested individuals that she was a complete seamstress, washer and ironer, and house servant. The word complete signifying her ability to perform all of this work adequately. On at least one occasion, an individual advertised an enslaved woman's ability to serve as a wet nurse before she even began to lactate. This advisor informed prospective buyers that the enslaved woman was used to attending in the house, but that she would also answer as a wet nurse in a few weeks, thereby suggesting that she was pregnant and had not yet delivered her child at the time when the ad was placed. Because, see, you still got to wait on her to give birth. They couldn't control that unless they was like, yeah, we got to make her go into labor. Yeah, if Mrs. done had that baby first and Sissy ain't done had that baby, they'll make her go in labor. so she could start lactating and start feeding that white baby. Them motherfuckers didn't care. So then they would be especially happy and pleased if sissy baby didn't even make it. That way that white baby could get all the milk. Shit, I'm beginning to see exactly who these people are. To us, to my people. Uh, Advertisements that do include this information, however, reveal that the labor enslaved women performed as wet nurses could be quite valuable to their owners and costly to those who hired them. Oh, I bet they were milking all the money they could out of it. Cause you breastfeed for a while with them babies. Shit, some of them babies heavy as hell and still breastfeeding, got a mouthful of teeth. But see, white women, they milked it for all they could. Sure did, honey. Let me see. Shit. In 1803, for example, one individual sought to sell an enslaved woman and her child for $600. The advertisement alleged that she was very fond of children and would answer for a wet nurse. 5 years later, Thomas Screven of Hampton, South Carolina, offered a healthy young wench with her child about 3 weeks old for sale. And his name is Thomas Screven, Screven. He claimed that she was fond of children and expected to make a good wet nurse, thereby implying that she had not yet performed this particular labor. He wanted $400 cash for the two of them. When white Southerners hired out rather than sold enslaved wet nurses, the owners retained the value of their bodies and repeatedly reaped the pecuniary rewards of their maternal labor. In 1804, an individual who hoped to hire an enslaved wet nurse indicated that he or she expected to receive $10 a month for her wages. Another expected to receive $8 a month. Concerns about the costs associated with procuring enslaved wet nurses also connote something about their value within the slave marketplace. One white woman, Kitty Harris, had trouble getting her son a nurse, and she suffered from an insufficient milk supply after he began to feed. Her mother hoped that she would persevere despite the trouble she faced because she worried that Harris's young family could not afford to hire or even buy a wet nurse. Like the Harrises, not all families could afford enslaved wet nurses. And this financial impediment not only presents another reason some women do not employ enslaved wet nurses, it also hints at the considerable value of enslaved mothers' nutritive labor in slave markets and the South more broadly. If the white women, shit, they were charging an arm and a leg. Shit, if you wanted a wet nurse, shit, you couldn't be no poor white person not to want no wet nurse. Shit, that was like, you having a bike, but you want a car. Yeah, yeah, that whole white women knew what they had, and the white men did too. Both of them did, honey. We ain't safe with neither one of they motherfucking asses. Like the Harrises, not all families could afford enslaved wet nurses, and this financial impediment not only presents another reason some women did not employ enslaved wet nurses, it also hints at the considerable value of enslaved mothers' nutritive labor in the slave markets and the South more broadly. Some white women left little doubt that they valued the maternal labor that enslaved women performed. After a white slave-owning woman learned that her female slave had been accused of theft by a man to whom she was hired, she ordered him to whip the enslaved female for her crime, but she asked that he spare her breast as she is giving suck to a very young child. Whether this enslaved woman was nursing her own child or a white woman's is unclear. Nevertheless, her owner assigned immense pleasure to her breasts and the milk that flowed from them. Oh, shit. Court records offer additional evidence of the respect white Southerners accorded with enslaved women's ability to nurse. Raphael Toledano emancipated an enslaved woman, Delphine. Confirmation. I'm just saying confirmation. There it is, Delphine. Delphine. I digress. Yeah. We right on time, y'all. Yep. In part because she has served as the wet nurse to two of his children. Samuel Street similarly sought to emancipate an enslaved woman named Delilah because she was a faithful and attentive nurse to his oldest son. Street told the court that it was from her breast that his infancy was supported. Other cases, such as one involving an enslaved mother named Mima, M-I-M-A, offers further clues about the value some white Southerners placed on an enslaved woman's ability to suckle. Jane Gladney, Gladney, owned Mima, and when Gladney died, her will stipulated that Mima should go to her grandchildren. Since they were still minors, the executors of Gladney's will held Mima in trust until Gladney's heirs came of age. Ain't that about a bitch? Man, these are some evil motherfuckers right here. You see that? You see how they just trading and using our bodies and shit? And you think it's okay here and there? Y'all better start thinking shit. Use your motherfucking head, honey. Ain't no mercy up there for your ass. Honey, they actually held Mima's body in the trust until the little sinners got of age. Because our babies ain't no sinners. That's a motherfucking lie. But let's read. Wow. Gladney's will required her executors to hire Mima out and use her wages to create two $25 legacies for her grandchildren and to allow any of Mima's remaining wages to accrue until they reached their majority. After Gladney died, Mima gave birth to a son named Isaac. And not long afterward, Gladney's executors discovered that Mima suffered from a disability of suckling, which they attributed to the fact that she was badly burned in her breast in her youth. As a consequence of this injury, Mima was unable to give any sustenance or support to her children from the breast. The executors claimed that they were experiencing difficulty in hiring Mima out because few persons were disposed to hire or were willing or in a situation to furnish milk or provide suitable attendance for raising the children. In light of these circumstances, Gladney's executors decided to sell Mima and sought legal permission to do so, and the court granted their request. They sold Mima and her child on January 1st, 1838. It is important to note that the executors did not have to sell Mima because of her inability to suckle. Slave owners frequently compelled enslaved women to leave their infants in other enslaved women's care while they worked in the fields and limited the time they could spend nursing them. They also separated enslaved mothers from their children when they hired them out as wet nurses, a practice that also required enslaved women to nurse enslaved infants who were not their own. Gladney's executors had at their disposal a number of ways by which they could have solved the problem. Nevertheless, their decision to sell Mima because she could not suckle underscores how important lactation was in the financial calculations slave owners made when ascribing value to enslaved women. All right, women, hoping you don't ever find out these things about them. Wet nurse advertisements like the ones described above highlight a darker dimension of the slave market. Many of these ads reference the loss of an enslaved woman's child and separation from her newborn infant. In fact, Many made it clear that an enslaved mother had recently lost her child. Made it clear that an enslaved mother had recently lost her child or would be hired without a baby. On June 17, 1813, an advertisement appeared from someone who sought to hire out a wet nurse who had just lost her first child in the City Gazette and Commercial Daily Advisor. 5 months later, in the same newspaper, another subscriber advertised a wet nurse who was a healthy, young, and sober wench with a good breast of milk, having lost her child. I ask you, where is the emotion? Where's the conscience? Far more frequently, those who offered enslaved women as wet nurses said nothing about their children, implying that these mothers had lost them through death, sale, or some other manner. There was an important reason individuals mentioned an enslaved mother's loss in these advertisements. Their lack of children was a selling point. That baby got that milk all they sell. They got that titty to they sell. They didn't have to suffer with the other baby. No. White folks always knew how to advertise. How to advertise black folks. How to advertise to black folks. They always knew. Shit, well, you think it's just by chance that everybody standing outside spending their rent money? Done stole the rent money, the light money, the baby birthday money to go buy a goddamn pair of shoes for $250, and you ain't even got outfits to wear every day with them shoes. That's gonna coincide with them shoes. Maybe 2 or 3 days. You know, you go buy your outfits to match with the shoes and but day-to-day life. Honey, these folks knew what they were doing to y'all motherfucking ass. Ain't nobody just told y'all asses. Stop motherfucking playing checkers and play chess, Monopoly, something. Far more frequently, those who offered enslaved women as wet nurses said nothing about their children, implying that these women had lost them through death, sale, or some other manner. There was an important reason individuals mentioned an enslaved mother's loss in these advertisements. Their lack of children was a selling point. Individuals routinely placed advertisements that expressed the desire to hire or purchase a wet nurse without children, or in the common parlance, without encumbrance. Mrs. Dawson, Dawson, a Charleston area resident, offered for hire a healthy black wet nurse without a child. And a woman named Mrs. Palmer sought a wet nurse without a child. Prospective buyers and hires recognized that enslaved wet nurses who were accompanied by their children would not be able to devote all their time and their milk supply to the white infants because they would need to attend to their own child. So see, that's why they did it. They also recognized that separating enslaved mothers from their children could present problems. These potential separations were a constant point of tension and negotiation between white families and the enslaved mothers they bought or hired. If they could, they would just take her ass and leave her baby right there. If they could, they would just snatch the mother and leave her baby right there. And the other slaves got to find out a way to feed that baby. It just said on the other page that enslaved mothers had to nurse babies that wasn't even theirs because that baby's mama would be nursing the white people kids. It's some bullshit. These folks they motherfucking ass. This is not, no. This not right. I don't care how they slice it, how they paint it, how they explain it. Ain't none of this right about y'all. It ain't been healed about y'all. It just happened. Prospective buyers and hires recognized that enslaved wet nurses who were accompanied by their children would not be able to devote all their time and milk supply to white infants because they would need to attend to their own. They also realized that separating enslaved mothers from their children could present problems because they don't want to eat. They depressed. They not stimulate the milk. So, they just, we got to bring the baby too. I'm sure they tried it. I'm sure they tried it at first. And then they realized that the mother was in such a depressed state and stuff, having her baby ripped from her. These potential separations were a constant point of tension and negotiation between white families and the enslaved mothers they bought or hired. Furthermore, as owners or hirers, they would not only be responsible for the well-being of the enslaved mother, they would also have to provide for any children who accompanied her. Therefore, indicating that an enslaved wet nurse would be hired or sold without her children eliminated later confusion and assured interested parties that these women would be able to perform their duties with minimal interference. Conversely, notifying readers that children would accompany the wet nurses who were offered for sale or hire helped all parties avoid trouble and reduce the likelihood of miscommunication between them. Information about the enslaved woman's children was important to these market transactions for other reasons as well, because they knew they could get them to work. They knew that as young as 5 years old, they can get some type of labor out of them. I bet you. Advertisers will routinely include information such as the birth order and ages of the enslaved wet nurses' children. These statistics served as shorthand. These statistics served as shorthand for individuals who sought enslaved wet nurses with young milk or a fresh breast of milk. They didn't say a fresh glass, like you have a tall, good glass of milk. No, a fresh breast. See, that's how they talk. Can she provide a fresh breast of milk in one feed? An enslaved child's birth order and age offered interested parties important details to help them determine whether the advertised laborer would suit their needs. The testimony of formerly enslaved people and the language that individuals like Mrs. Dawson and Mrs. Palmer used when seeking to hire, sell, or purchase enslaved wet nurses reveals the ways in which a white woman's decision to initiate and finalize such a transaction constituted an act of maternal violence. Maternal violence. That is what white women got to give to black women. That's all they've ever provided to black people is maternal violence. I don't care if you're a black woman or a black man. The white woman ain't never gave you nothing but maternal violence. And right now, today, allegedly 2025, some of my brothers are so sunken. You're so sunken. And those of you that don't feel like you're in the sunken place, I beg you to keep your eyes open. You sleep with one eye open. If you feel like something is on you, it's probably your energy is probably been sucked right on away from you, and you don't even know it until after like maybe 25, 30 years and shit, when you old, you all drawn up and stuff, you shriveled now. You ain't got no energy now, you just shriveled up and stuff. However, Sabrina looking spriteful over there. Yeah, Sabrina, all red, freckled ass, looking like, yeah, she can go another 20, 25 years after you. Which, of course, she gonna get that insurance money and stuff, Yeah, y'all do got a family together and stuff, but, it served its purpose. It served its purpose. Everybody's happy with Sabrina. See, Sabrina, we didn't have to kill him. We didn't have to lynch him. And y'all still was together and had a wonderful family. Now it's time to teach them children to breed with white men so we can strengthen up our genetic survival. That's how that is. Shit, I can hear the motherfucking conversation the same way y'all. I heard them talking about. I can just hear them saying everything. That's how we be talking about each other. Yeah, I seen Face over there at the store and stuff. Yeah, and then everybody get to talking about it and stuff. Yeah, I can hear it in the back of my head what everybody said, but your ass supposed to have been the one to say, look here now. You ain't finna come over here where I'm at and talk about face the nation. But no, ain't nobody said it. I can hear it. We got to just start reading between the lines on their motherfucking asses, honey. So do stop right there. Just stop their ass as soon as they get in with that bullshit. This ain't that no more. No. Only thing to do at this point is repent and repay. That's all. That's it, and that's all. For those of y'all in interracial relationships with your children and stuff, you need to start asking your significant other, where the fuck is the check for black people? Your kids too. I don't give a damn cause they is mixed. The world gonna see their ass as black. You weren't supposed to get your ass over there and forget about the fight that black people got. Because even though them kids mixed, your ass still black, ain't it? Look back there and see. That's all you got to do is look back there and see. I'm just motherfucking saying now. Y'all got to wake y'all motherfucking asses up. And prioritizing their own infants' nutritional needs over those of their wet nurses' children. White women separated enslaved mothers from their children often prevented enslaved women from forming maternal bonds with their infants and providing them with the nutrition they needed, and distanced them from the communities and kinship networks that were integral to their survival. That's where, see, all of this right here, and Dr. Anthony Browder, Brother Anthony Browder, said that the geneticists discovered that we keep 30,000 years of information, trauma, namely trauma, especially trauma, within our body's memory, y'all. And then we wonder, not only this right here, this kind of attacks on us as our family structure, but when we got into the apartments and stuff. Remember that I got in my first apartment and I was 10 years old. Other than that, hell, we lived in the shacks, shotgun houses until I was 10 years old. No running water, no electricity and shit. It was just bare minimum. So see, we ain't never really had a chance to fortify our families and to flourish and nourish our families. We ain't never really had a chance. Black Wall Street for the time that it lasted. But we see what happened with that. And then I seen Professor James Small said that we actually made an attempt to build back Black Wall Street, but it couldn't survive integration. At that point, white folks were like, nah, you're not going to do this shit again, are you? Well, you better let us in with their foot in the door. You better let us in. You going to try this shit again. So I guess black people like, we'll try with integration, but it didn't work. It wasn't the same. They ass wasn't supposed to be there. They was not supposed to be there. Black folks supposed to stand up and say, no, you ain't bringing your motherfucking ass in. I guess it is finna go down again. God damn it, bring it on. That's what black folk was supposed to say instead of letting them think that, yeah, we gonna do this together. We don't need to do nothing together. We don't need to do nothing with white America from this point on. The demands the slave owners placed upon slave mothers as manual laborers and as wet nurses gave rise to circumstances that could result not only in psychological but also physical violence against these women and their children. And yet, white mothers like Ella Gertrude Thomas ignored or failed to acknowledge the effect their choices would have upon the enslaved women who nursed their white infants. Thomas had experienced difficulty nursing because of an inadequate milk supply. And after her unsuccessful attempts to bottle feed her babies, she chose to use at least 4 enslaved women to nurse her 2 infants. See, that's why they struggling with white genetic survival. Their ass can't even have their own babies. They can't have them. They can't feed them. Body's just weak, inferior. But see, now they had that hold up too. Now then my ass will be coughing and shit. Nose running and stuff. But that's all right, though. We're going to do this right here. But see how white women need you. Needed you then, need you now. And I know now they feel like now, oh yeah, my body is strong. That was then. Because they done built themselves up now, honey. Oh yeah, they done sucked all of your essence out of you, Black America. Black woman, black man, they done suck damn near all your essence. So yeah, they can pass it off and make it seem like, they can carry them babies. They ain't so weak like they was in these days right here. But see, they can only procreate with each other to make a white baby. So that in itself is a very small, it's a very small progression. It does progresses over time, but it ain't like they can have babies with other groups of people and it be a white baby. Mm-mm. Yeah, fool, honey. Why they even have to make this like this? But yeah, she what was I at? Because her ass got 4 enslaved women to nurse her 2 children because she couldn't do it. Yeah, I think I'm right here. America and Georgiana nursed her son Jefferson, and Nancy and Emmeline suckled her daughter Cora Lou. Ella Thomas borrowed America and Emmeline, that's her name, from her father, who lived on a different plantation estate, thus separating them from their community. In her journal, she did not reveal why she used 2 enslaved women to nurse her son, but several years later, when she used Nancy and Emmeline, she did indicate why one would not suffice. Nancy served as her daughter's first wet nurse, but Thomas was prepared to install Emmeline as her replacement if Nancy's milk did not agree with her infant's palate. In her journal, Thomas never mentions how these enslaved women might have felt about her decision to use them as wet nurses for her children, or by the ways they might have supported each other through the experience. And she didn't care. And Thomas seemed uninterested in the negative impact her choice had upon America, who had recently lost a child and would have been in mourning. What might enable a mother to so easily ignore or neglect to note another mother's grief and pain? In the 18th century, British men who bought female captives on the west coast of Africa claimed that these women did not have the same emotional attachments to their children that European women did. What attachment? What attachment that European women got with their children? They ain't even feeding their asses. They're not even doing all that they can to nurture them, to bring them in the world. They ain't just laying there fainting every 2 or 3 days. Some assumptions continue to shape how Anglo-Americans thought about enslaved women's relationships with their children in North America, and might help explain why millions of slave owners were so willing to sever parental and kinship bonds, and why, when faced with enslaved people's grief, trauma, and pain, they described it as something else. Whoa, I think I need to read that again. That was long. Such assumptions continue to shape how Anglo-Americans thought about enslaved women's relationships with their children in North America, and might help explain why millions of slave owners were so willing to sever parental and kinship bonds, and why, when faced with enslaved people's grief, trauma, and pain, they described it as something else. Ella Gertrude Thomas certainly subscribed to this idea when it came to people of African descent more generally. When the enslaved man who served as her driver informed her that he had been separated from his daughter and that his daughter had been separated from her children, Thomas remarked in her diary that they were fortunate because the Negro is a cheerful being. She said her and her family was fortunate because the Negro is a cheerful being. No feeling, no emotion, no conscience. Y'all. Such a view of African descended people probably explains why Thomas failed to acknowledge the psychological distress her children's wet nurses endured. In her estimation, these enslaved women were cheerful beings. They were not distressed at all. White Southerners developed a special terminology to describe enslaved people's emotions, terms, and phrases. White Southerners developed a special terminology to describe enslaved people's emotions, terms, and phrases intended to render their pain, grief, trauma, and emotional loss invisible. The literary scholar Anlin Cheng, Anlincheng, identifies a discourse common to both scholars and lay people in discussions of race and views marginalized people's expressions of grief as pathological, while simultaneously defining white people's expressions of grief as healthy. 19th century white Southerners employed their own version of this. When confronted with enslaved women's emotional responses to losing or being separated from their children, white Southerners construed their grief as the sulks, or even a form of madness, vices, flaws, or pathological conditions that made such women less valuable and less desirable in the slave market. An enslaved wet nurse with the sulks was one whom prospective buyers and hirers desperately sought to avoid. An advertisement in the City Gazette and Commercial Daily Advertiser on June 16, 1792, for example, requested a black wet nurse who would, if possible, be free from the sulks and of good disposition. Yet their very desire to avoid confronting the mental anguish and psychic suffering of the enslaved mothers they hoped to acquire made the reality of that grief clear to anyone who read the advertisements. Scholars of slavery have elaborated upon the ways slave traders and slave owners compelled enslaved people to feign joy, to fake like they happy after they done lost their baby. Scholars of slavery have elaborated upon the ways slave traders and slave owners compelled enslaved people to feign joy and contentment in the slave market precisely because their trauma and sorrow were palpable to buyers. White Southerners also sought to disguise the maternal grief of enslaved women in their advertisements, with claims that these mothers were extremely fond of children and possessed cheerful and uncommon good dispositions. The advertisers were, in essence, marketing a particular kind of maternal sentience along with enslaved women's maternal labor. Ooh, this is the last page. See, this is the last page. Come on, let's finish this, y'all. Enslaved mothers' grief and white Southerners' attempts to render it invisible stand in stark contrast to the simultaneous culture of mourning that allowed whites to openly express their sorrow after the loss of loved one. During the 19th century, white women were encouraged to mourn for the dead, and their private expressions of grief helped usher in new conventions that enabled women to more fully express their acute sense of loss. So white women was able to mourn. And black women, I heard good morning was because the white man was coming during the morning time telling the enslaved mother, say good morning. You still out here crying and depressed and making yourself sick and stuff. It's a good morning. Say good morning. And that's how you had to start saying, that's how we got started saying good morning. But maybe that's not the case. No. Maybe the white woman has something to do with that too. They both did, I guess. They could mourn and grieve, but we had to have good morning. You see? I'm just saying. I'll put it together. During the 19th century, white women were encouraged to mourn for their dead, and their private expressions of grief helped usher in new conventions that enabled women to more fully express their acute sense of loss. Oh, they just crying all over the place. Yeah. However, while 19th century white Americans were encouraged to openly mourn for the dead, especially for infants and young children, white Southerners brutally denied enslaved mothers and fathers the right to do the same. In the face of these denials, the enslaved mothers whom slave owners compelled to serve as wet nurses, particularly those who had recently lost a child or who were forced to separate from him or her, could not or would not hide their sorrow and grief. And such emotional displays were disturbingly obvious to owners and potential buyers. While from today's perspective, we might have assumed that the culture of mourning would inevitably lead white mothers to commiserate with enslaved women who lost their children or were separated from their infants, contemporary evidence makes it clear that women who employed wet nurses often chose to ignore enslaved women's expressions of maternal grief. Yeah, probably whoop their ass and stuff, probably just lash them for crying and being depressed and sad. Whether they recognized it or not, white Southern mothers were ultimately responsible for the ordeals that many enslaved wet nurses endured in and out of the slave market. These women decided when enslaved wet nurses would best serve them and their children, and only they knew the motives underlying these decisions. White mothers determined whether they could withstand the physical toll breastfeeding imposed upon them, and whether they would be able to produce an adequate supply of milk to feed their newborns. Consequently, they were the ones who decided whether to borrow, hire, or buy an enslaved wet nurse, even if a man might finalize the transactions in the slave market. Some men did influence their wives' decision to charge other women with nursing their children. But the politics of respectability that shaped white Southern culture and domestic relations ensured that few men would dare violate white women's bodies in order to determine whether they were concocting reasons not to nurse, especially those of the elite and planter classes. Physicians, husbands, and other men had to take women at their word and allow them to make maternal decisions for themselves. White women separated enslaved mothers from their children and placed their own infants at the breast of these women. That's like white women came and took your baby out of your arm and put theirs in your arm here. Yeah. White women separated enslaved mothers from their children, and placed their own infants at the breast of these women. They compelled enslaved women to suckle their white children shortly after these mothers had lost their own babies. They denied enslaved women the right to publicly express their grief. In short, they perpetrated acts of maternal violence against these enslaved mothers, and the slave market made this violence possible. We are done. It ain't nothing that white women can say. It ain't nothing they can say. All of this that they've done, for all the love that they showing us, and faces lying and things is different now. No, the fuck it ain't. Y'all ass has just been pretending. That's all you've been doing. Be loyal with y'all self, white folks. Because, see, you going to have to pay for your father's actions. All of this that we reading about, yeah, your people, they gone. They not here no more physically. But your ass is. Your ass is here now. And the cosmos, yeah, honey, I'm getting out the way. Serve all y'all asses. Serve all of you. Sabrina, Karen, Brent, Brad, Ken, all of y'all, Barbie, everybody. Everybody finna motherfucking pay for what y'all asses done did. And those of us that sitting there helping them, like James Clyburn and folks like that sitting there letting white folks do this, and you ain't stopping none of it. You letting it just signing everything. Just signing everything. What else you got to sign? Put it on down here. I'll sign it. Your ass finna get it too. Everybody finna get it. That's why this world fucked up right now. Not just this country. This whole world fucked up. I don't know. Who plan on coming out on top? Who want to be on top for what? It's all anti-life. All of it is anti-life. It don't matter who come out on top now. America, the other country and the other countries. It don't matter which one of y'all come out on top, because all of y'all asses is anti-life. It's not gonna last. Life ain't gonna last that much longer with y'all in charge. So Black America, we need to get ourselves together so we can save this whole world, this whole planet. And even after that, when we save this planet and it's just us here, because Mother Gaia wants to be black again, all black. You know, at one time the planet was totally black. Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Mother Gaia, she wants to be all black again. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know we need to help them. We have black babies. That's all you got to do is have black babies. I'm just saying. Now, we finna go. I don't know if let's see what the time looks like. Oh, hell, we're a little bit past time and stuff, but that's because I just got to talking and stuff. Because of the more we read and stuff, y'all, I already know. I'm going to tell y'all more about it tomorrow and stuff. I just want to let you know what I found today, though. I didn't come on today at 12 o'clock, y'all. I went to the welfare office. Honey, I went to the welfare office. They had these books in there. I forgot it in the car. No, I forgot it at my job. I'll go get it. And I have it tomorrow at lunchtime. But y'all, was reading the book at the welfare office. And it was about May C. Jemison. Remember, we read about her in one of our first readings at lunchtime. She was the first African-American astronaut. Y'all, then when I got there and I opened the book up, and I was so early because I didn't come on and stuff. I was so early. So I said, let me read this book. And so I started reading the book. Oh, my ancestors. I seen my namesake. His name was on this side over here said Shriver Bolden. But over here, his name said Charles. It said Charlie Bolden. That's my namesake. Bolden Unchained. And it was right there. And I had the book. I took it in there with me. And so I go get it in the morning. Honey, I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. Where my book at? Did anybody throw my book away? Because it ain't nobody made it here yet. You ain't even opened up for business. I forgot it outside. I'm be sitting out there in my car. As soon as I see a shadow, I'm going, can I get my book? I left it right over there on that table. I sure am. But I just want to let y'all know I have it tomorrow. And, and I really thank you. I really appreciate y'all for being here with me through this and stuff. Because, it's what I got to do anyway. And I appreciate you. I really do, your patience and your presence. Because I know I ain't no real good, fanciful reader and stuff. I'm getting stronger with it, though. And I'm just trying to make this word at least a little edible for us, ingestible for us, so we can digest all of this and stuff. And you know what? I even went in there and looked at y'all, my, what is it? Is this the members? Yeah, I think this the members. Oh, yes, I wrote all y'all names down, too. I'm going to look at y'all. I even got day ones. What? Let me see. Where is that? March the 10th. There was a Dusty Struggles, Voodoo Glitch, Small Fry, George Daly, Wowzers, Letitia Taylor. I know Letitia because you said you coming to 12th and never too, didn't you? I know that's right, honey. We ain't going to heaven with these motherfuckers. She sure ain't. And then there was Sugar Factory Kids. Yep. And I guess my day twos, I don't know, I'll come up with some. There was the map drawer, and I know I'm still looking for them songs to Walk the Walk. I Am Key Era of Air and Sea. Slide Tie. Yep. And then on day threes, there was Jalen Davis, T. Neo, Winter Rose, Puzzle LJ, PSCLE, and then it's a LJ. And then there was a Custom Apple, Custom Apparel and Kicks, Goblin Mastery, Miss Top That, My Freedom, Our Negroes Officials, Roots Matter, Fumbles and One. And then last but not least, it was Mike TV, Miss Arlene, and my great grandmama name is Arlene. I put the picture back on the wall over there. Her name is spelled AIRLENE. And then My Freedom. I know I wrote them down and stuff, and I just want y'all to know that, I do want to do something particular for y'all perks, and I just wrote them down and stuff just yesterday so I can find a way to start, so we can get these gifts to y'all and stuff, so that way we'll all have our cups. I know, right? Shit, wherever you be at and stuff, whatever site you be on and stuff, you'll have your cup. So I done kept us here long enough and stuff. So, let's just keep some gratitude. Let's keep a song in our heart. And let's go just process this right here. Because tomorrow is a new day, honey. The fight is on. Vernon John said, if you see a good fight, get in it. We didn't start this. We did not start this, but honey, we got to get ready for it. Yeah, fast, fast, fast. You ain't got to eat all the time. Just drink you some water. Go get you a juice and start juicing you some stuff. Eat your apple orange sometimes. You ain't got to eat even that all the time. It ain't going to kill you to not eat. No, you might lose a little weight. I'm a little thin. I'm even lower than 119. I think I'm like 116 now. Oh, my ancestors. I need to eat a whole hamburger from Sonic. I love Sonic. But, it is what it is and stuff. Yeah, you just rather be healthy anyway, right? I'm just saying, but I love you all and I thank you so much. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to go get that book too because we're going to read that. We're going to look him up. I'm finding my namesakes. You going to find your namesakes too. And I'm going to Mike TV. Mike going to help me to trace my great-grandmama, Eileen Collier. That's her maiden name, Collier. Eileen Collier. And she married my great-granddaddy, Sambo Friesen. And I want to know why was my granddaddy named Sambo? Who named my great-granddaddy Sambo? Because it was in this book right here why we had the name Sambo, why it was given. It was after that time, though, I believe. But I'm just saying, all of these lies and secrecy among us, between us, not passing down information, that shit is finna stop this year, 2025, today, whatever today is. So, yeah, when we get this video, when you see this, today is the day for us to break all these generational curses. You ain't got to feel bad about it. You ain't got to feel depressed about it. It's in the books right there. Trust me, it's in the books. All you got to do is start doing your research, and it's going to connect just like that. Don't you fight it. Yep, it's so good to see y'all. Oh, I know, right? Oh, Dusty Struggles, it's so good to see you. I know. I wrote your name down too. D. Willis. Oh, I need all of y'all. I sure do. And I thank all of y'all because the ancestors said if you don't see me here, you're going to see me somewhere else. And that's fine. I can be okay with that. Because I know when I see your name somewhere else and stuff, it might be a year, 2 months, 2 years, or whenever. And I just done went a long way around because I go a long way around. Yeah, you can come with me, but yeah, I walk off on your ass. And you be like, damn face, look, I'm not finna walk no damn 60 miles with your motherfucking ass. You be flagging down there, can I get on your handlebar shit? I sat on somebody's lap shit, I'm just saying, shit. But I'm just saying, I don't want y'all to think that you have to be here and stuff like that. I just know I gotta be here. But I sure appreciate y'all being here with me and stuff because shit, white folks ain't no joke. White folks ain't no motherfucking joke, and they getting pissed off about your ass not coming out there to that protest on April the 5th, and don't you still go. Any motherfucker that buck up at you, you better buck right back up at their ass, okay? Don't you let them punk your ass out and stuff. And I don't care who going out there with them. You let them go out there and duke it out with each other. This is time for us to get our focus on black people and what we need to be doing. Hell, we done been out there time and time again. Hell, I'm like, damn shit, how the hell you march my ass for 6-7 years? I'm out here marching in the motherfucking streets. Ain't got nothing out of it. Ain't had no plans. Ain't had no tangibles. Ain't had no blueprint, green print, black prints, nothing. Just my ass just out here walking with him and shit. Not no more. We done doing that. We are done doing that. The next time we get our asses out here amongst other people, we better have our own table, our own chair, pen, pad too, and pushing all of it. I'm just saying, as far as I'm concerned, So yeah, let's just get through this next 4 years and get his ass out of there and stuff, It's only been like a couple of months, y'all. But yeah, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go get us some rejuvenation. Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Engine? I know all this year. Yep, we done with the lies and stuff. Anybody try to pull the wool over your eyes and say this ain't this and this ain't that, they're a motherfucking lie. People just afraid now, especially when they realize that the white woman being exposed. See, a whole lot of this stuff right here is about the white man. But this right here, the ancestors said, oh no, the white woman don't get to keep hid no more. They don't get to keep her shit up under the covers no more. My ancestors said, no. All of their ass must be exposed. Exposed. The white woman, the white man, the white child, the white boy, the white girl, Irene Tuscan, and Jimmy Sullivan. Their asses must be exposed too. Ain't nobody getting away. Ain't no mercy for none of them. You know, all of them took part in this. Whatever area you want to call it. You can go deep back into slavery if you want to. But they the one caused this hurt among my people. And then my answer said it was okay for me to find out what's wrong with my people. I want to know what the hell is wrong with black people. My people, that we can't even come together. And my answer said I can do it, so I'm going to do it. Yeah. And peace and power to the people. Y'all, what the Bible tells us that they will pay for the crimes of their forefathers. Sure will. And the ancestors said so too. The ancestors said they finna pay for the crimes of their own. Of just condoning it. And then, y'all, when I was there, look what else I found. Look. I know I got y'all a Bible. It say the Passion Translation, the New Testament with Psalms and Proverbs and the Song of Songs. Oh, I thought it would have other stuff. Look, whoever this person was, honey, they had little things like that. I'm going to take them off and put them on all the contradictions in the Bible, because that's where I want to start at. I don't know how you do it and stuff. Y'all have to tell me. Maybe you're supposed to start at Genesis. I don't know. We'll discuss it, though, but not right now, okay? I love y'all, and peace and power to the people. Yeah, let's just go rejuvenate, and, we in this fight. It's our fight.